A long time ago, there were 4 incredible masters who competed for the title of the strongest in the world. The cult of the blood demon, which existed in those times, wanted to take over the mortal world. To do that, they set a trap for the masters. A fierce warrior took a boy hostage and was threatening to blackmail his father. The boy's father put down his sword and asked the warrior to spare his son. The boy pleaded with his father not to give up. But in the end, the 4 masters were imprisoned underground. The masters were held in custody by a blood demon cult in an underground dungeon. The head warrior instructed him to study the martial arts of the masters. The warrior said that nothing would happen if he did it his way. The head warrior agreed and asked if 10 years would be enough. The head said he trusted his warrior because he was the best in the academy. The warrior bowed and promised he wouldn't let him down. The warrior informed the prisoners that they had listened to the chapter and were now his instructors. And they have to teach him their martial arts. The masters all declined and sent him on his way. The warrior said it seems they're not ready to leave just yet. One of the masters got upset and told the warrior that it wouldn't work. "Warrior, do you really think they'll fall for his tricks just like that?" The warrior said that the masters don't think a demonic strategist would leave them alive, especially since they've studied all their martial arts. The warrior explained that he'd taken on this challenge because his body couldn't use the breath circulation technique. Even so, the masters wouldn't be left alive anyway. The warrior said he'd made them an offer, so let them decide. After some thought, the masters all agreed. After 10 years, as the warrior had originally anticipated, his head was going to get rid of them all. The head suggested that the warrior speak with him. The warrior had never trusted him. Isn't that why a bunch of useless people who should have been fired a long time ago are now following him around? The head said he was well aware of his physical condition. Even though he'd studied their martial arts, it was still just a temporary measure. The head told him to stop bluffing because it would get him killed. He'll make use of the remaining skills after the warrior's demise. The warrior told him to go ahead and use it if he had the time. Sometimes you have to go all out to feel more confident. This just goes to show that the demonic cult strategist isn't that strong. It's pretty obvious that people who are prepared for anything are the first to experience a disconnect in their chi. The strategist asked what he was talking about. The strategist thinks he's only learned 4 martial arts, but he's actually mastered 5. The warrior demonstrated his 5th martial art. The strategist was surprised and said that it was impossible, but he had a different feeling about it. This is a divine art that could only be used by the founders. The warrior laughed and said that he wasn't joking, even though it wasn't even finished yet. But until the blood demon emerges from its seclusion, it's invincible. And it was time to get the ball rolling on the war. The boss said he wasn't going to let anyone get away with it. The warrior told them not to let the enemy advance. The master drew his sword and said that today the divine blood cult would be wiped out. The lovely girl master said she'd make up for all the shame she'd suffered and used her magic attack. The elders saw the outcome of the battle and said it wasn't enough. If you want to stay alive, you've got to keep moving. The strategist was confused about where his warrior had gone. He'd crept up behind the guy and asked if he was looking for him. Was his greeting too harsh? The warrior saw the light and realized that their situation was dire. After all, the blood demon had come in person. But on that beautiful and exciting day, they all died in that underground prison, bleeding to death. But not far away was a house where a boy ran out and told his teacher that he was in the clouds again. The boy said that all the kids are asking when the teacher is going to be back. They're heading to the academy. The teacher was so tired that he pushed the boy and told him to do his own studying. The boy was annoyed because they had to play ball again. He said he'd speak to the head teacher if the teacher didn't stop. The boy was really enthusiastic about martial arts and was able to get the trainer up and starting the lesson right away. He grabbed the teacher's hand and told him to run with him to the academy. After all, every hour was precious. About a month ago, he woke up in the body of a martial artist in a remote village. His name was Baek Surin. Baek was born with a rare defect. It was said that he had been in life-or-death situations many times since birth because of it. His mother was in poor health and passed away a couple of years after the child was born. His father, Baek Muin, tried to save his son and sought out many healers to find a cure for the boy, but unfortunately, none of them could help. Ultimately, He set up an academy in a rural area with clean air and water to give his ailing son a better quality of life. And his son trained in martial arts every day, even though he wasn't at the top of his game. Word is he was on the lookout for a cure for his ailment. Ultimately, he delved into demonic martial arts and exerted an excessive amount of energy when he collapsed. But he actually passed away. In his final letter, he expressed his desire to either find a cure or die trying, rather than living and giving up his dream forever. Later, our hero woke up in his body. A whole month has passed since then, and he's been teaching little children with burning eyes. I've heard that the cult of the blood demon was destroyed a couple of decades ago. The chief asked Beck if he had anything to say. He said it's obvious that anyone who wants to learn martial arts has to go through a lot of training. This way, we can make sure we're making the most of our time, money, and determination. And it's a great idea for them to bring good silk and pass it on. The chief couldn't resist and punched the guy, saying that he was ordering kids under 10 to do such hard exercises for hours. Where else in the world would you find a teacher who makes kids train so hard? Beck knew he should have dodged, but he couldn't. This was something he did daily in the blood demon cult. But children are so weak. Beck told the head of the academy, Beck Nguyen, that to learn martial arts, you have to be willing to put in the work and sacrifice for it. The head called him a rascal because he doesn't know what this place is about. But then, all of a sudden, a boy ran into the academy and started screaming at the teacher. The teacher asked the boy what had happened. Jan asked the teacher to help his brother. When they saw Jan's brother, they were taken aback. The boy's father carried the child on his back and asked Mr. Beck to help. The head took the child and put him on the ground, asking what had happened. The doctor examined the boy and said it was a martial arts injury. His bones were broken, but his insides were fine. Nothing fatal happened. The head said he'd give him first aid and let him sleep here for the night. Have his father send him to a doctor tomorrow for a full checkup. The father bowed and thanked the head of the academy. Jan asked the teacher, if his brother is going to be okay, why are you so worried? The head gave the boy a hug and told him not to worry. He said his brother would be fine once he got some rest. He was curious about who had done it. The head was trying to finish his inspection, but he was exuding an overpowering aura. He'd thought about it before, this was clearly not an ordinary person. The father said that the boy told him he hurt himself playing with his friends. The head said that he really didn't want to say it, but Jiang Il is one of the strongest among his peers. What really bothered Jiang Il wasn't what he was taught. The boy couldn't take it and said that it was all the fault of the people from Jin Academy. They were the first to attack his brother. They dismissed the teachings of Beck Academy, claiming they teach ineffective martial arts. When Beck heard about Jin Academy, he was pretty surprised. The head asked, isn't this the same Jin Academy that was in the neighboring village a few months ago? The head said he'd heard that Jin Academy is owned by the relatives of the Namgong clan. Beck thought of the Namgong clan. If they were related, why would they build an academy in such a remote place? The head said that a few Jin Academy students attacked Jiang Il. The boy said there was only one. The boy said it was a sneaky move. Yang was familiar with all of their techniques. Beck suddenly realized that this guy had studied here before. Beck examined Jiang Il's injuries and realized that the man had used a lethal technique against the boy. He thought it was pretty cruel. The boy informed the teacher that they should go to Jin Academy and reprimand Yang Sam. The teacher said he'd take care of it himself. The head said he should go and meet with the head of Jin Academy. Father said this is what happens when children fight. He's happy his son is fine. The head told his father not to worry. They'd just have a word with him. Beck realized this wasn't going to end well. The head told them to head home, it was getting late, and he'd send Jiang Il over tomorrow. The father bowed and thanked the head for his principles. The next day, the head came to the academy and said he was from the Beck family. But then the door opened and a man came out. The man asked what all the noise was about at such an early hour. The head said they were here to meet the head of Jin Academy. Beck wondered if this guy, who looked like some kind of bandit, was a relative of the Namgong clan. Beck thought it was pretty strange, given his walk. He looked like a second-rate martial artist. Head Beck said that last night, a student from his academy was seriously injured in a fight with a student from their academy. Head Namgong said, "Why so much attention because of some childish fight? After all, boys grow up through fights and pain. Or is Head Beck going to raise his subordinate like a girl?" Head Beck said that he doesn't teach his underlings to harm others. However, I'm not so sure about his young Sam. Chapter Beck asked him if he knew he almost killed his friend last night. Yang said it was a fair fight. Chapter Beck asked Yang if he was sure. Chapter Namgong got angry and told the chapter what he was doing to his student. Head Beck, does he think the fight was unfair? Maybe he should have taught his students to be stronger. How dare he come to someone else's academy and make a big deal out of some kid getting beaten up? Beck got angry and told him to listen. But the Namgong head said that it seems that the one who trained this guy wasn't that good at martial arts himself. No wonder his student lost in the end. Beck looked around and said it was all a setup. Namgong was counting on it, so he ordered Yang to attack Jiang Al. If father backs down, Beck said, then rumors will spread that he's a coward, and students will start leaving their academy. Beck said they're rooting for the head of Jin Academy. Even if he challenges him to a fight, it'll look like he's trying to avenge the kid's fight. Whatever choice he makes, it won't do any good. But suddenly, an old man came into the conversation and said that he was the head of Namgong OK. He was the fourth cousin of Heavenly Sword King Namgong Evenhak, the best master of the Kanma school. It means he's related to the great Namgong clan. OK said it's nothing special, he's just trying not to dishonor the clan's name. Beck thought about it and said that he was certain that this fool had nothing to do with the Namgong clan. Beck should have expected, the problem is that the followers of the academy believe these lies, and he should intervene in this. Beck Surin laughed and said that it was unbelievable, so the martial arts he was teaching the students here were the same as those of the Namgong clan. Naturally, they don't teach the main techniques directly, but if we generalize, then yes, they follow the teachings of the clan. Surin said that he must be an amazing master. After all, he had brought young Sam's skills to such a level in such a short period of time. OK laughed and said that Surin has a good eye. He can train him if the warrior wants. Surin said that it was as expected from the Namgong clan. To think that such an academy would be in their village. After all, he had no idea that the Namgong clan's martial arts would exude so much lust for killing. Because of this dense death aura, he thought that Namgong Academy was an evil sect of martial artists. Suddenly all the people around him were surprised by these words. Surin knew that this would happen, because the atmosphere changed immediately. Surin told the head that the dirtier the technique, the easier it is to learn. OK got angry and told the guy to watch his tongue. Surin asked him what happened to his face. It was like he wanted to take up shoveling again. Head Beck said that they are teaching the arts to the evil sect. On what basis does he say that? Surin said that everything will be done now, we just have to wait a little longer. Surin said, since they have doubts, maybe they need to be sure. He asked people how they all look at it. Since the incredible Namgong OK of the Namgong clan opened the doors of their academy here, they should contact the Namgong clan and ask them to send congratulations on the opening. Besides, it would be great if they could prove that Yang himself had not studied the martial arts of the evil sect. OK told the guy to shut his fucking mouth. He probably wanted to die on this fine day. The elder intervened and told Surin to listen. Was he ready to take responsibility for what he had just said? Surin asked the elder what he meant by responsibility. The elder said that they don't teach evil martial arts under the name of the Namgong family. If Surin claims something so reckless without any proof, he must realize what the future holds for him. The elder asked, does he realize how dangerous what he is trying to do now? The evil martial arts sect, the Namgong clan, will not let his name be blackened because of a rumor. Academy head Beck, it seems like both sides have given in to their emotions too much today. Since they dared to recklessly inflict such damage with their words, how about we keep silent about today's incident and judge everything in a different setting? Surin knew that he had trained in an evil martial arts sect for 10 years. Who is the old man trying to fool? Surin said, how dare a master of an evil martial arts sect use such dirty tricks? Do they think that because of their words, he will run away in fear and tuck his tail? After all, their behavior speaks when the elder is angry, and the strain on the faces of their disciples only confirms his words. Surin asked, What group did they belong to? Looking at them, he wondered, did they seriously want to gain control of this region by pretending to be an academy in a village? The elder started laughing loudly and couldn't stop. Surin plugged his ears against his nasty laughter, and suddenly a strong wind came up. At last he showed his true colors. Surin said that the elder could become a first-class master, and that was it. But suddenly, the old man's body began to change. The old man said Surin is an arrogant bastard, and he recognizes his reflexes. The old man wants to see how long Surin can behave like this. The guys were scared and thought to leave the academy. The elder heard this and said that from now on, anyone who makes even a step will be killed. The academy guards had closed the only exit and wouldn't let anyone in. The guys were screaming for help and saying that they wouldn't tell anyone what had happened here. Surin laughed and asked the old man, was he serious about killing those children? The old man asked, who said he couldn't do it? Head Beck told Surin that it looks like he doesn't need to show respect anymore, and ordered him not to interfere. Beck told Surin he's good, but he can't beat them. Now it's time for him to take care of them. OK decided to attack first and told Beck not to look away during the fight. It could end badly. Ok decided not to hesitate and started the fight with his attack. Beck defended himself and shouted to Surin to run away, because he would not be able to fight them. Surin realized he couldn't give himself away. Better to finish this quickly without any eyes around. The old man offered Surin to test how good he was in battle, but suddenly, somehow, the old man found himself behind him. Surin didn't expect it and managed to dodge his sneak attack. The old man said that the guy had a rush on his tail. Analyzing the old man's abilities with each attack, Surin realized that the old man moves slower. He so obviously underestimates him, but it's to his advantage. The old man told the guy not to be afraid, because he would kill him as soon as he enjoyed their fight. Surin waited until he was fully open and kicked him. The old man got angry and said he wouldn't fall for it twice. Suddenly, cookies flew at him and Surin was behind him. Surin told him in his ear that it was not the first time this body had survived without internal energy. The old man asked him what kind of nonsense he was talking about. Surin realized that the old man's body was strong and could withstand all attacks. With such strength, he only needed a second to paralyze his arm, but he could win if he chose the right moment. And attacking from the back, the old man felt that his body was immobilized. Surin grabbed his head and said he was sorry to beat him in one blow. The old man managed to tell him to stop, but the guy wouldn't listen to him and said that in two it was still too easy. With a flurry of blows to the old man's face, he broke his nose. But the old man didn't give up and said there was more to come. Surin tried to attack again, but realized that the old man had begun to protect his open spots with his internal energy. The old man threatened to kill the guy and attacked him. Surin realized that the old man's meridians were blocked. And then only a fool wouldn't dodge his attacks. Surin said that some of his students treated him with disdain. Other mentors did too, all because he couldn't concentrate his breath and use his internal energy. It doesn't make sense that they've mastered techniques that use internal energy. They've become arrogant, ignoring him. They think they're better than him just because they're normal. The old man kept telling the guy to die. Surin asked him what he was capable of, and attacked from behind and said that this is the way to do it. The old man fell to his knees and fell to the ground. Surin wiped the blood from his nose and said that he had overexerted himself a bit. But no one expected that the old man would be able to stand up, and turning around Surin realized that he was too late and would take the blow, but suddenly the head of Beck managed to cut the old man's arm. Beck asked the guy if he was alright. Surin smiled and said that as far as he was concerned, he was a first-class martial artist. Surin thought, but why is his father hiding his skills? After catching up with him, he said that it seems to be over. And since they heard their confession in front of so many witnesses, if we give them to the Murim Alliance, they will deal with them, right? Beck's father told the guy that he thought they had a lot to discuss when they got home. Cedrino's body suddenly weakened and he started to fall. He said he was going to sleep for a while, and it was a few days after the incident at the Chin Academy. How he started training the boys at the academy again. They were very tired that day and wanted to escape after their mentor fell asleep. Surin told them that he could hear them perfectly. Jan told the guys, can't they be patient? If they behave like this, how will they become as strong as their mentor? The guys were saying, is their mentor so strong? He looks weak to me. Surin heard all this and laughed. Jan said that the mentor is incredibly strong. He defeated the demonic sect in seconds. In fact, the mentor is a martial arts master. When he waves his hand, the wind rises, and when he pushes off with his feet, the ground cracks. The boys said that their mentor had glazed the boulder with a single blow. Surin wondered if he was exaggerating too much. And the flying mentor, said the boy. Surin knew he had no internal energy, he couldn't even do qigong. Also, the mentor is secretly the strongest martial artist in the world. He probably knows strong Murim techniques. So if they wait, he'll teach them everything. Surin said that at least the boy guessed it, because he knows the 5 strongest martial arts techniques of Murim. Of course, he has no plans to teach the boys. He himself must learn to use them well. Later, if he has the chance, he will find successors and teach them what they want. But it would be nice to find suitable candidates, but if he can't find any, then so be it. He asked the guys, why is it so noisy during practice? Surin doesn't beat them or make them starve for misbehavior. And he won't be kicked out, and his title of mentor will not be taken away for his mistakes. After all, this is a village where the air and water are clean, and where there is no smell of blood. To think they can learn martial arts so easily. He's even a little jealous. Father Beck came in and said that today's lesson would have to end. Surin asked him what was wrong. The head said that a man from the Murim Alliance had arrived. The man greeted the guys and said that Ko Kol is a member of the Murima Alliance. Father bowed and said that he was Pai Yinghek, and had heard very well about the alliance. The man said that the rumors were exaggerated. Father Beck said he's the head of Beck Academy. Unfortunately, he's not skilled enough in martial arts to have a title. Surin said he's his son. He doesn't know anything about martial arts, so he doesn't have a title either. Husband told them not to be so modest. Didn't they take down and defeat the demonic sect in battle? They're better than them. Beck's father said he didn't even know how to respond to such a compliment. They just got lucky in this fight. The guy asked if they'd ever met before. Beck said he had a bad memory, but he didn't think so. The man asked them to get some water, because it was a long way here. Beck said that he made them stand on the doorstep, it would be better to go inside. Although their academy is modest, they have tea. The man said he would gladly accept their invitation. He told his guys to go to the basement and take care of the criminals for a while. Sitting down at the table, the man said that they have good tea. But it's not really a secret that can be told to anyone, but these intruders might be part of the blood demon sect. Surin even choked up when he heard those words and thought, why did the man mention the blood demon sect? Beck said, didn't it disappear decades ago? The man said Beck was right. Decades ago, the blood demon sect split due to internal strife. The alliance leader seized the moment and destroyed the sect. Surin realized that he also knew about the collapse of the blood demon sect. But from this conversation, he would be able to understand what happened after his death. If this is about internal strife, then it all started after his death and the deaths of the 4 great masters. The man said that they've recently discovered activity among those believed to be descendants of a blood demon sect. Beck said, does this mean the sect could be revived? The man said it's not necessary, it's only a possibility. Surin felt something as the man looked at him accurately. The man asked the 2 of them if they had heard anything other than what the criminals told them. Beck said he wasn't sure, he hadn't spoken to them since they left them in the basement. Surin said he hadn't heard anything either. The man said that somehow, the Murim Alliance has been keeping an eye on the activities of demonic sects lately. If the guys find something to report, he would appreciate it if they would send a letter. The man said that for this case they should be rewarded by the alliance. Beck laughed and said that there is no need for rewards, they did not do it out of self-interest. Surin realized that judging from the man's gaze as he watched their reaction, even though he seems relaxed, he was ready. Surin saw that the man's hands were positioned so that he could draw his sword at any time, and his legs were tensed in readiness for qigong. Surin thought, why does this man suspect them? Because an unknown village academy has caught the masters of a demonic sect? Or is it because they realized they were teaching demonic techniques to children? But it seems to be because of his old man. He's acting very suspicious. That's why he's sure they're hiding something. Is it possible that he's wary because they might be descendants of the blood demon sect? The man said that when he heard Mr. Beck's voice, it sounded familiar. Beck said he had a normal voice. Surin wondered if this aura of intimidation was so strong that it was hard to breathe. He hadn't felt so anxious in a long time. The guy said he'd seen that face before. But then he remembered. And Beck said he'd been caught. The man came up to him and said he knew they knew each other. Beck said they haven't seen each other in a long time. Hong Nim. The man asked how long it's been since they last met, old friend. Beck said it's been about 30 years. He didn't think his friend would show up here as the head of an alliance investigation team. The man said Beck recognized him right away, but why pretend? Beck said he left school in a hurry and hadn't contacted him in a long time. Acting like they were old friends seemed unseemly to him. Man, I mean, they're old friends. If Beck says that, he's gonna be upset. Beck apologized and told Surin to get them a drink. Beck said they should get reacquainted. This man was like a brother to him during their studies. The man said Surin was tall and handsome, and there was no doubt that he was his son. Bayak said he was almost 50, that's an old nickname. The man said that if anyone at their school didn't know the handsome boy, he was a spy. The guy thought it was good that there was no fight anyway, but his name is Beck Surin. The man told him to sit back and he'd pour him some wine. And so at Peck Academy, the story of their school life, which took place more than 30 years ago, began. Surin was thinking of the 5 great academies. In his time there was only the Celestial Academy. Many things have changed, of course. The man hugged Surin and said, does he know how many ladies his father broke the hearts of during their school days? The man said, still as handsome as ever. Imagine how handsome you have to be called handsome. Surin told his father that's why he said he didn't have a title, because he was embarrassed. Actually, it's a really embarrassing nickname, especially when he's almost 50, Surin thought. Beck said it's just a nickname his friends made up when he was young. It's not a title. Came a man's men and told the boss that they were done with transporting demonic sect members. The man said he still has some things to find out. He'll be back tomorrow, so let the people tell the alliance. The man said that now that they're out of the way, they should get back to business. To Hong Nim's health. Hong Nim said that however, there's no sign of Jagbin. Did something happen? Beck said it's been a long time since she died. Hong Nim said, so that's what happened. She really was in poor health. Beck lowered his head and said, yes. Hong said that on second thought, Beck had completely confused him. He looked so familiar, but he couldn't figure it out. So he thought he saw Beck while transporting the criminals. Beck said he was almost tied up too. Hong said he was almost killed by his sword. And then we had another round of drinks. Hong said, how is the academy making money anyway? It doesn't seem to be doing well. Beck said it's enough to live and support a family of 2. Hong said that BJK doesn't hold on to his pride. Didn't he think that their meeting was fate? With such skills, BJK could be a mentor in the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Hong said this place is good too, it's not like when they were young, Beck. Even as a real martial artist, if he doesn't have money, he'll have to starve. Besides, Beck, teachers aren't paid much these days. Didn't he hear how much the top teacher of each of the 5 great academies gets? Beck said how could he compare to these teachers? Surin realized that his father could, because he had all his skills. Hong said that Beck is very stubborn. He decided to shut down the pretty boy's talent. Besides, with his face, the students will come to him. The guy could not miss such a chance and intervened in the conversation and said that he apologized for interrupting, but what is the best mentor? The next morning, Hen was screaming with a headache. Surin told him to drink water with honey. He was the one who collected the honey, it's a great hangover cure. The father asked, where is his water with honey? Surin said that his uncle had the last jar and ran out of honey. The father was upset and told his son he couldn't split it in half. Surin said that then the effect would not be the same. It is better to give the guest a full jar. Father is not jealous that his brother, with whom he has not seen for 30 years, got all the honey. Hong laughed and told Beck that he had raised his son well. Soren knew that Ko Kol was an amazing person. He and his father met after 30 years of separation, but judging by how happy he is, it is noticeable how much warmth of feeling for his father. Hong bowed and said he had to go. He asked Soren if he had thought about what he had said yesterday. The guy said he was still thinking. Hong said there's still 3 months, so you don't have to decide right away. If he does decide, let him find him. He'll write him a letter of recommendation. When Hong left, he said that next time he'd bring good wine. And they'd get really drunk. Soren told his father that he would go to prepare for the morning class. His father asked him if he was really going to go to the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Soren said that even if he agreed, his father would forbid him. Beck said that even if he tried, he didn't think his son would listen to him. Beck told Soren that he hasn't really given up. But Murim isn't what he thinks he is, he's much tougher. Soren said he knows. Father got angry and said he doesn't know anything. He thinks he became a great master just because he was lucky enough to beat a man from a demonic sect. If that man had underestimated him, nothing would have happened. Beck told her son that he spent his whole life trying to cure what he's had since birth. But it can't be cured, and even though he knows all this, he still wants to enroll in the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Soren asked, "What do you mean enroll?" His father said that he will obviously be laughed at because he doesn't use his inner energy. Many people will try to drag him into a fight. With his health, he won't last a month. Soren said that his father didn't seem to understand him. Beck said that no one could cure him. They couldn't even find out what his disease was called. Soren knew everything, he knew the name and the cure. The problem was how much money his father spent on it. He didn't know. Beck told him to listen to his father for once. He's already 27 this year. Heavenly Dragon Academy enrolls at 15, how will he feel when he loses to the kids? Beck told him to just find a nice country girl, get married and have kids. Soren told him he wasn't going to enroll in the academy. Beck finally heard him and asked him what he wasn't going to do. Soren told him that he told his father to drink less. Doesn't he remember what Soren told him yesterday? Soren told him that he only wants to earn money. He wants to find a job. When he heard about this academy, he thought he could use his skills there. Soren asked him if he didn't think it was time to live in luxury with the money his son had earned. The boy remembered how he had trained with the masters, how the master had said that he was too slow. After all, he would be in trouble if he died before he learned the 18 blows of the reject's triumph. Master told him if he dies and the guy survives, then he can take his powers. The guy asked the master why he was talking about it, he even lost his appetite. The master said, "Why wait for everything to turn to ashes, wouldn't it be better to give them to him?" The guy asked, "What should they do? Aren't they serving more than one meat dish today?" The master asked, "Does he think he's doing it for an extra serving?" The guy said, "But if you think about it, you can probably find another one." The master asked him if he wanted to learn another technique. As they were climbing up the mountain, Beck suddenly stopped and asked in a surprised voice, "What is it?" "There's a strange aura here." Soren said that it seems to be in place. Beck said Soren kept saying he wanted to learn martial arts. That's why he thought Soren was still trying. Beck asked, "Is the elixir really hidden here?" Soren turned and asked, "Has your father been deceived all his life?" Soren knew it was here, this is where the markings start. Given that they're here, there's a good chance that the elixirs are still there. Soren told his father to follow him, but be careful. His father was surprised and said that it was as if his son was possessed by a ghost. After passing through the cave, father saw a summer house standing alone in the forest. Soren said he was right. Soren thanked Master Meng, for he would use his elixirs. Soren said that the elixirs must be around here somewhere, and they were well hidden. Beck said he really didn't understand what this place was. To think, the rumors shared by the traveling pharmacist turned out to be true. Beck remembered that Murim law states that you can't let your guard down until your last breath. They don't know what traps there might be. Soren said there are no traps. Instead of them. Father asked what's in place of them. But suddenly a creature appeared in front of them. Soren told his father to show him what he could do. Suddenly Surin disappeared and the creature began to attack. Beck was able to repel the tiger's attack with his sword. Surin remembered that Master Meng had said that it would only be a kitten, but now it was an adult beast. Even though it was decades ago, Beck asked his son how come. Surin from the bushes said that the pharmacist said that instead of traps there would be a big beast. Beck told him it's a little late for him to say that. Surin said he didn't think it would be true. Beck said that this was the tiger's territory, and if they left, he wouldn't follow them. Surin knew he'd be in trouble. Isn't that why he brought him here? Surin from the bush said that he thought if he sold the tiger skin, maybe it would be easier to survive the winter. Beck said that on the other hand, the beast is big. But he drew his sword and said that poverty is also a sin. Surin told his father he'd pray for his victory from afar. Beck, with his strength, said they'd end it. The beast wasn't weak, and it deflected Beck's sword blows. He said that it was just as he thought, it was a spirit beast, but only a beast. But suddenly he managed to hit it and felt the sword hit the beast. As it got more angry and attacked Beck, Surin saw that the beast was so strong that even iron armor wouldn't save it. It would take even a first-class warrior or hunter by surprise. But luckily his father is a first-class warrior who has reached the peak of his development. Beck asked Surin, why is the tiger skin so strong? This was the first time Surin had seen his father fighting at full strength. Beck had said that no matter how much he attacked, the beast would not die. Surin realized that when his opponent was a spirit beast, the battle would definitely not be easy. Surin thought that the battle with those guys was fake and so did father's opponent Namgun okay. He was too weak for father to show his full power with him. Surin asked his father why he was pushing him so hard. The son thought he'd be able to get rid of him quickly. Beck told his son, what's he saying? Does he think it's that easy? Let him try it then. Surin asked if he could help his father. Beck said it's okay. If he joins, he'll only get in the way. Beck said if this keeps up, he'll lose all his son's respect. It's time to end it all. Surin saw that his father was a bit stiff in his movements. If he rushed like this, he would never win. Beck took all the strength of his fist and attacked the beast shouting that he was finished. He thought that he seemed to have aged, fighting at this level was tiring him out. Surin started shouting to his father that the beast was attacking from behind, but suddenly he came to his senses and managed to get away from the beast. When Surin saw his father fall, he went into the fight and threw a stone at the beast. He asked his father if he was okay. Beck said, didn't he say Surin would only get in the way? Beck told him not to get involved in the fight. Surin asked him what he was saying. He's saying such words, but he's limping. If his father dies, he's dead too. Beck told his son to run away, but Surin laughed and told his father not to talk nonsense. The wounded tiger kept his eyes on them and followed their movements. Surin told his father to fight calmly. Surin will cover him. That way they'll have a better chance of survival. Surin told his father not to use the sword's chi energy and to aim for the sides. Beck was already halfway through the Akati and told Surin that he was talking too much. Beck managed to take the full force of chi and strike only one blow at the beast, just as suddenly, the blow produced a huge explosion and the beast was defeated. Surin was looking for a cure when he suddenly shouted what he had found. He said there was a golden core inside the tiger because it was a spiritual beast. Beck said he thought it should be bigger. Surin said it was already big enough. With their skills, it's impossible to catch a standing spirit beast. Surin said that once the problem was solved, it was time for them to go to the summer house. Beck said he wanted to get it over with and rest soon. Suddenly Surin felt that he was wrong. He thought that his father had reached the peak of his abilities, but something was preventing him. Beck found something and told Surin to take a look at it. Judging by the leaves, it's been about 100 years, Surin said. The boy knew deep down that this would be the case. If it was just an elixir, Master Meng wouldn't have made such a big fuss. Beck said that it was a rare elixir. Surin realized that he meant that without normal meridians, this elixir wouldn't do anything. But that's because he doesn't know how it's made. Surin knew how it's made. But the problem is, he needs money. So much that even if he sells all those stubs, he'll need more. But first he needs to train his body to earn that money. Surin asked his father if he could eat it. Beck said of course you can eat them. Sure you can, Surin said, when the old man ate them. Suddenly he got a slap on the head from his father. Surin thought about these plants and knew that even that should be enough to start changing his constitution. Surin remembered and told his father that there was a hot spring here. Maybe they could bathe here. But his father said they didn't have time for that. When he put his hand in the water he said that the water was pleasant. Suddenly he remembered the master telling him that there was a great hot spring near the hut. Surin said that if you bathe in it, his internal energy will quickly increase, or the fatigue in his muscles will immediately disappear, and you can train without rest. Mater looked at him and sighed, saying that they have not been taught anything. The master asked him, does he think such a treasure would exist peacefully on the mountain? If that were the case, every criminal in Murim would be hanging out there by now. Surin told him that he should have said that. It's not about children and knowledge. It's about Master Meng being an old man. There's meat for dinner tonight, but he can't eat it or his teeth will rot. Surin told Chief Master Meng that he really thought the treasure would just lie there. Surin froze and wondered what he was looking at. If Master Meng was never interested in weapons. Surin said that it's not about Hazuo now. When his father heard this, he asked him what he was talking about. Surin pointed his finger and told his father to look. In his previous life, he had only once seen iron with such an aura. How could he forget that? That iron pierced his heart and he's sure of it. Blood demon swords are made of it. Surin said that the legendary iron and shooting star. It is a rare type of iron ore that can only be found in meteorites. It can only be obtained by those who have been blessed by the heavens. All wizards use shooting star swords, and depending on the skill of the swordsman, such weapons can become legendary, capable of defeating even the heavens. If the blood demon sect didn't have such a sword. But if he had such a sword. But all of this is just meaningless speculation. What's important is that now he has the shooting star in his hands. It's unexpected. His father asked him what he found there that he went into the water with his clothes on. Surin realized he should just tell the truth, his father already suspected he was lying. The guy told him it was a shooting star. My father didn't believe it and asked what kind of nonsense he was talking about. Surin said, does he look like he's joking now? Beck said it'll be dark soon, and they need to get down the mountain first. A treasure he can't take responsibility for will only bring discord. If it's really meteoric iron, they can't take that responsibility. If they find out about it, there will be bloodshed for possessing it. Even they won't be safe even though they just found it. Surin said we should just take it and not sell it and keep it. My father said he wants a war, why should they put themselves in danger? Surin said that even if you leave it behind, someone will still find it. It's a mountain near their village, martial artists will come to them because of the rumors. Even the demonic sects will come. Even those who are ready to draw their swords at any chance. Can father stop them all? Surin said that if they just hide it quietly at home, no one will know. Everyone will think that they just brought a beautiful stone with them. Beck objected for a long time, but finally agreed. Beck said he speaks well. If he speaks without knowing Surin, he'll be hysterical on the floor. Beck said they would take it with them, as Surin said, you can just hide it. Surin realized that he was only straining for nothing. Surin took the beast and decided that he wanted to worship Master Meng and Hazuo, and the shooting star. Walking home he wondered what he would do with a shooting star, maybe make himself a weapon, just in case. He can make a few swords like a blood demon if you add another ore. Or a small weapon just from a shooting star. Surin told his father not to drink the elixir until he was gone. His father said his son thinks he's a fool. Let him go sell the hide for a good price. Spiritual art that violates the law of heaven, which he is about to perform, goes against the laws of nature, said Surin. The cultivation method is also different from the norm. To other martial artists, it's like a demonic art. Wouldn't it be better to do it now and just be punished later? After eating it he wished himself a good appetite. After eating the whole bowl, something began to happen to him. He did not realize what was happening because his chest was so torn with pain. Suddenly he clutched his heart and insisted to himself that this is only the first step to victory. He can't give up so easily. He had been through this before in the past. He knew that the blood flow in his 8 auxiliary meridians was blocked by a large amount of contaminated qi. All this contaminated qi accumulated during his normal life is enough to finish him off before he turns 30. He wants to see who wins. He realized that if he lost consciousness now, he would be finished once and for all. After going through the agony, he felt that he had managed to form a dantian. The power in his hands felt different from before, and this was only the beginning. Thanks to this plant, he has reached the first phase of spiritual art that defies the laws of heaven. If he wanted to move on, he would need more elixirs and constant cultivation. At least he had extended his life for another 3 years. Even so, he can't start practicing this spiritual art yet. His body must become stronger before he can withstand the incredible power of these techniques. So his first step in solving this problem is to turn this weak body into an indestructible one. There is no better martial art in the world to strengthen his body. After making a few trial attacks of his strength, he felt a great change. He could only train for as long as his body could take it. But for now, he was limited. He decided to keep practicing until his father returned. When he could master the first half of the 18 strikes of the reject's triumph, he would also gain a 6th sense. But if he keeps practicing, one day he will be able to master the other half. Then he will surpass the king of the green forest himself in martial arts. But would he be satisfied with just that, Surin thought. He still remembered the martial arts of the cavalryman Hong Wanghu, the cold moon goddess Un Yeren, the swordsman Mo Yonghong, the spiritual art of defying the laws of heaven. How strong he'll be if they master all of this. He'll definitely be the strongest in the world. Toward evening, Beck told his son he was back. And did he know how much he'd gotten from the sale of the tiger skin? He'd fall over if he heard. But suddenly he noticed his son sitting on the ground outside the house. Beck asked him what had happened to him and how long had he been like this. Surin smiled and said that this elixir was stronger than he thought. Beck asked him, he didn't drink it, did he? But from Sereno's laughter, his father realized that he had been drinking and said that he had told him to wait until he got back, because it was dangerous to do it alone. Beck took the stick and said he warned him. Surin told him to wait, because we need to discuss this without violence. Beck took a stick and started chasing him. Surin told him to calm down and listen to him, but his father wouldn't listen to him. After that Surin said that even though he had gotten it in the nuts, after that life went on as usual. Every morning and every evening, he meditated and concentrated the polluted qi in the dantian. He has strengthened his body and become more agile with 18 strokes of triumph of rejection. And finally the day he had been waiting for came. He received a letter from their guest, Ko Ko, with the answer to his question. When he opened the letter, he was surprised to read that the Heavenly Dragon Academy had announced the recruitment of new mentors. The next day, many people gathered at the academy, saying that if Surin loses this battle, he will not be allowed to go back to the city. Surin heard the boy's words and said, "Is this how he's going to test him?" He told his neighboring villages. Suruan said that so many people wouldn't even come to the village's old age son's exam. Beck said, "Son, if he wants to be laughed at, let him say he won't go." Surin said he can't. BJK told his son that this was his last warning. But Surin stood his ground and said that he had already made up his mind. Beck said he warned him a month ago that there'd be kids out there stronger than him. Does he really think he can teach them anything? Surin said yes, because he's not the same person he was a month ago. Beck put his hand on his head and said they'll never get along like this. Surin said he'll prove his words. Beck said they'll see what he's learned. He won't use his internal energy to keep the fight fair. Surin felt that the first movement always felt as if someone had put a sword to his throat. Like an uncontrollable hurricane. Beck noticed his son's technique called sword controlling vortex. Judging from this stance, Surin has really been practicing. With swords clashing, Surin told his father that he would have to use chi for sure. Surin told his father to wait a while, because his sword technique always seems to be missing something. He'll leave so Beck can deal with it. Beck said that Surin was a jerk and shouldn't say that to his father and attacked him. Surin realized that he had provoked him for nothing. After taking a few of his father's attacks, he saw that he was fast but his father's shoulder was bothering him. Surin managed to barely block his father's attack. His techniques were almost impossible to predict. With such a fast speed, if he keeps this up, he'll lose this fight. He needs to distance himself and think first. Beck told his son to tell him he's not going anywhere. If they keep fighting, he'll get hurt. Beck did not feel sorry for his son and dealt a crushing blow when he saw that his son did not come to his senses. Surin took the attack on his sword and realized that it's not easy to withstand such a blow. He feels like his sword is going to break. He believed in himself. If he could hold out, he would soon be able to understand the technique his father was using, especially if it's the same technique he's been trying to master for the past month. But suddenly he saw some flaw in his technique and launched an attack. Beck flew backwards and didn't understand how Surin blocked him. Surin said that this is his technique. Surin took the sword firmly in his hands and said it was his turn to attack first. Beck told him to try if he could, of course. With every attack, Surin realized that his father was putting a lot of power into his blows. The sword technique. Controlling the vortex. Relies on unpredictability and the myth of the phantom sword. And it's not a technique that requires a lot of strength to strike. Beck didn't understand how Surin was able to reach for his throat and stopped in surprise. Surin told his father that it wasn't his fault, even that he was born sickly. He's not the burden his father has to bear all his life. Beck asked him what he was talking about, and who said he was a burden to him. He struck out of anger and dodged it. When Surin saw his father in a different guise, he said it was over. And told his father not to feel sorry for him anymore. Beck must have felt guilty and repressed his feelings. Probably because of his wife's death and his son's illness. So he shut himself off from the world and forgot how to fly. Surin said that he now hopes that his father will be free. After all, he has talent, so it's easy for him to become something more. The smile on his father's face was so bright that it spoke for itself how happy he was. Beck told Surin that he had lost and could go to the academy. Surin noticed that his father looked a little tired, but full of new energy. Seeing his son off to a good start, Beck told him to make more money and come back when he had improved. Surin told him to keep an eye on things until then, so that nothing falls apart when he arrives. Seeing his son leave, Beck said that at the Heavenly Dragon Academy, he could meet his grandfather from his mother's side. Surin asked him what he was talking about. Beck said that his grandfather was the chief petty officer in charge of the students in this academy. Surin was surprised and said that his father had only decided to tell him now. He asked if something had happened between his father and grandfather. Beck said that it had been a long time since his mother and the elder had seen each other. Surin asked, when was the last time they had seen each other? Beck answered that when he and his mom got married. Surin smiled and said it must have been 30 years. Surin said that if so much time had passed, he was still a stranger to him, so why call him an elder? Beck told Surin how he could be so rude. Anyway, he doesn't know how his grandfather will treat him. He thinks he will like Surin because he looks like his mother, or he could try to kill Surin because he looks like him. If he meets a man named May Kygrim, he should run away. Surin covered his ears as he left, wondering if his grandfather would really try to kill his grandson. Beck asked him if he wanted his father to go with him. If they're together, he won't kill him first, he'll have a chance to escape. Surin told his father to calm down. He's made up his mind. He'll sort it all out. And told his father to take care of his health in his absence. Beck told him to send him a letter every month. If he doesn't contact him, he'll come after him at the academy. Beck knew his son was heartless, never looked back once on the way. He wanted Surin to be with him until he died. But now there was no need for that. So he let him go. A lot of girls will have their hearts broken by him at the academy because he looks like him. Beck realized that he probably would. Beck thought maybe he should go after it. It's the only gift his wife left him before she died. He's like her, he's got a temper, he's got a lot of problems, but he's his son. He'd give his life if it could cure him. Beck had thoughts of quietly following his son. But his dead wife's voice told him to stop, because he'd lost. Beck realized that his wife was right. How could he protect him if he lost? Of course, he didn't use chi or even his full strength, but a loss is a loss. As he accepted the thought that he had lost to his son, he remembered his words that he was not to blame for his mother's death and his illness. His wife's voice asked him if he blamed himself all this time. Beck said yes. If she hadn't met him, she wouldn't have died so soon. The voice said that their child wouldn't have been born in such a life. Beck apologized and said he didn't mean it. The voice said that she knows how Beck feels, but Surin is an adult. He should be let go. Beck said that thanks to his wife, his heart is not so heavy. His wife's spirit asked him what he will do now. Will he remarry if he doesn't have to take care of his son anymore? Beck said that marriage is out of the question. He will learn martial arts that he couldn't learn before. Trying to learn new techniques, he remembered how she used to ask him if he was the handsome one. She didn't think he deserved that nickname. Beck said he was still him, and why would he stop her from drinking and criticizing his looks? She told him to buy her a drink if they'd already met. Beck remembered that their first meeting had been a failure. She had looked so weak then, as if she would break from the lightest blow. She looked at him with defiance and asked him to buy her a drink. But somehow, he fell in love with this weak woman. Beck asked her to marry him, promising that he would change. And she would be the only woman for him. The girl said he wouldn't live long because of his poor health. She asked him if he still liked her. The girl said she didn't care. He'll just get married a second time when she's dead. Beck told her not to say that, and he wouldn't do that. Beck remembered how he had asked her father for permission, and how he had reacted by sending him away. Beck told her he'd make her the happiest woman in the world, and no one would stop them. Beck promised her that he would find a way to cure her. Jagbin told him not to say anything stupid, let them travel, because she always wanted to do it with the man she loved. But Beck didn't stop there with the memories and recalled moments from the birth of the baby, how he didn't realize the sex of the baby. After seeing Beck in this life, Jagbin told him that he looked much better than before. Beck thanked her for her help. The guy said he heard that among the 5 great academies, Chujak has the best mentors and equipment. Didn't he tell him when he went to Chujak Academy 20 years ago? The man said he knew the story. The man never tires of hearing this story, no matter how many times he tells it. Surin noticed this and said that the fat man was hardly a first-class warrior. The other 2 guys are average at best. Fatty was loud, what can you do? The Heavenly Dragon Academy has offered him, Kwok Toon, to be their mentor. The guys said that the fatty was doing well. He was sure that with him in the ranks, the Heavenly Dragon Academy would find new hope. Fatty said that after he becomes a mentor at the academy, he won't forget about them, so they don't have to worry. So tonight's drinks are on him. But suddenly a guy comes up to them and says they're all disgusting. Does the fat guy really think the academy would offer a screaming drunken pig like him a mentor position? The guy said that even if the Heavenly Dragon Academy lacked talent, it would be too much. Surin immediately felt this guy's aura and realized that he was a master. The fat man said that the guy was sick, but the guys told him to shut up. The guy said that there was no need to interrupt, let the guys talk. Surin realized that he was seeing the master for the first time, after he was in this body. He must be about 20 years old. Surin said that if he is a master at this age, it means that he is either a genius or has a famous family behind him. Judging by his behavior, both options are correct. The fat guy said he was acting inappropriately because he was drunk. Thank you for helping him sober up before he did anything. The guy said it's no big deal, anyway, there are no more vacancies in this inn. He can't go any further because his legs hurt. The fat man said that they were just about to leave and the guy could sit down. People saw it and thanked the guy for what he did, because those guys were making so much noise, they even felt better. Surin was eating and was sad, because he had hoped to dispel the boredom of watching the fight, but it didn't work. The guy walked over to Surin's desk and said, "What do you think, they weren't even going to fight? How can such a weakling become the mentor of the Heavenly Dragon Academy, right?" he asked Surin. Surin was surprised and asked him if he had something to do with him. The guy said Surin was interested in him. The guy said that as soon as he spoke to them, Surin reacted first. He was ready for a fight. The guy asked, "Isn't that enough to get him interested?" Surin thought it was unnoticeable. He seems to be stronger than Surin thought. Surin apologized if it got on the guy's nerves. The guy said that given that he openly announced his aggressive attitude, it was an expected reaction. The guy told Surin to apologize for making a fuss. He decided to offer him a drink. Surin said it's no big deal and he's busy. The guy interrupted him and said his name is AK Enho and he doesn't have a title in Kanho yet, he's new. Surin realized that he was from the AK family, a young gentleman with a great pedigree. Surin said his name, and clarified that he didn't have a title yet either, because he was new to Kanko. There are not many families and groups that use the spear in Murima, but among those who do, the three best techniques are the AK family technique, the Cho family technique, and the Yang family technique. Among them, the techniques of the AK family are considered the most perfect. The Lord of the AK Pai Spears, one of the 10 great masters, is the current head of the AK family. Surin thought, since there is a great master in the AK family, they are quite confident in the world. AK offered to let the guy hang out for a while and he would pay for the food and drinks. Surin didn't understand, if this guy is AK's family, he should have known about him from rumors, but this is the first time he heard AK Enho's name. Surin asked Enho's boyfriend how old he was. AK said he was already 25, so he was 2 years younger than Surin. AK said he could call Surin brother. Surin offered to order a drink first and thought why AK should call him brother when they had just met. The guys spent a lot of time in this tavern and got drunk. AK said that his father was very irresponsible. Surin supported him and said that he was too. AK said that he couldn't make friends and only trained himself to death because he was following his father's orders. What's the point of sending him out to find an equally strong partner? Surin said it's the other way around. He barely got him to send him alone. He's never left his side all these years. He almost died when he learned a strange technique. AK said Surin has a talent for talking about his life as if it didn't concern him. Surin said they'd skip this conversation and asked AK if it was really his first time in Kanho. AK said he was. Surin realized in his head that this was the most trivial reason to be in Kanho that he had ever heard. AK told Surin that he was the only one here, and from the looks of him, he wasn't that strong. Surin was indignant when he heard these words, but AK said that he was really a master, but in secret. Surin had to just nod at his questions. Surin realized that AK didn't sense the chi in him, which was probably why he had decided to do so. In order to heal his meridians and reach the level of changing the laws of the heavens, he would need to gather many more elixirs and techniques. AK asked Surin why he left home. Surin didn't hide anything and said that he wanted to take the exam at the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Surin's goal is to become a mentor and make a lot of money. AK smiled and was surprised, because he had the same goal. Surin asked him why he should take the exam if he's only looking for a partner. AK said it's not like that, you don't have to make up anything. AK expressed his wish that he wanted to go with Surin after all. The guy asked him why he wanted to go with Surin. AK said that he thought he was going to have many adventures. Surin told him to wait and asked him what kind of adventures he was talking about. AK said that if Surin agrees, he will pay all the expenses. Surin told him to make sure that even after they both sober up, they will still stay together. The next day the drinking buddies hit the road. AK said that everything is different in the big city, as he thought. But they have to find a place to sleep first. Surin said he had to look somewhere first. Surin went to meet Ko, whom they hadn't seen for a long time. KR said that Mahung had already warned him that Surin was coming, and he had already written a letter of recommendation. Surin thanked him for everything. Ko looked at the guy and said that from the look of him, he's on the mend, and this guy is his friend. Surin said yes, and they met on the road. The guy said his name was AK Yunho and it was his first time in Kanho. Ko smiled and said he was from AK's family. Ko said they have a lot to talk about since they haven't seen each other in a while, but he has to go. He hasn't been himself lately. Surin was upset and said that uncle was busy. Well, the main thing for him was to get Ko to write him a letter of recommendation. Ko told Surin that he would help him if he could solve a case. How about we check ourselves out? Surin asked what kind of case. Ko said that a Murim soldier killed a civilian recently. The technique used by that soldier might belong to the blood demon sect. Ko said that Surin once identified a technique of a demonic sect, although they are not sure if it's that technique. The corpse is damaged so badly that they suspect the possibility of it. Surin said he should just confirm his suspicion. Ko said it would be great if he caught the culprit too. If Surin helps with this case, he will receive an honorary award from the Murim Alliance. And he can attach it to his letter of recommendation. Ko asked him what he thought about it, and if he was interested, he would contact the city authorities immediately. Surin said he would try to help his uncle. After arriving in one town, the guy said that the Murima Alliance has already contacted them. He is the commandant of Chungcheon, and he is leading this investigation. The guys also introduced themselves and Surin said that he has no title, he is a newcomer to Murim and smiled. Chun suggested they look at the corpse first. As the guys can see, the body's not in the best condition. Surin saw the look on AK's face that he felt bad after seeing the corpse. Why did he insist on coming here, Surin thought. Surin said that they assumed it was the result of a demonic sect technique. A technique that can do such a thing does exist, and he needs to meet the suspect. Cheon asked the guy if he was done. Surin said he had to meet the suspect. You can't make a decision only after examining a corpse. Cheon said they should go to the scarlet-colored room. It's a brothel owned by Elder Ho. They'll find the first suspect there. When the suspect came to the scarlet-colored room, she said she didn't do it. Yes, they had a fight that day, but it's a common thing. Surin asked the woman if she and the late Elder Ho had a close relationship. The woman said yes. Then why did they often quarrel? Surin asked. The woman stiffened but said that the elder had ordered her to step aside and hand over the running of the house to someone else. She told him she wasn't going to do it. The elder may have paid the expenses, but the brothel owes its success to her. Surin realized that this brothel was really big, it was worthy of being called one of Namchen's 10 landmarks. Their income must be huge. No wonder she didn't want to hand over the management. Surin thought about it and thanked the woman for her attention. He knew she didn't do it. She's not capable of such a thing. Surin summoned the next suspect. Suddenly he heard voices outside the door, as a nonchalant man chased everyone away and asked to enter the room. But suddenly the door opened and General Jiang flew out like a cork on a table. Cheon said there's no need to look for a second suspect. Did the guy tell Grandma to pretend she's not here? Cheon told Surin that it's Elder Ho's son, he's the second suspect. The woman got angry and said to Ho, how dare he make a mess here? Let him get out of here. Ho said he came to take over his property. The woman told him he has no property of his own. And how dare he, the chamber of the scarlet flower is hers. Hong said she was only hers while the old man was alive. She didn't understand what was wrong. But the guy wasn't alone, he had a hostage he was pointing a sword at. Surin realized that if someone like Ho took over the brothel, it would immediately fall into disrepair. Ho asked Cheon, is he just going to watch? Cheon said it's a family problem. He doesn't think the city government should intervene. Cheon said it's their inalienable right. In most cases, the authorities won't interfere in a fight between Murim warriors. And he noticed that the guys had swords, which means they were Murim warriors. The guy noticed that nothing was moving and drew his weapon. The warriors thought the cunning old woman had found the mercenaries. Ak told them not to worry, he wouldn't kill anyone. The warrior told AK that he seems to be a skillful warrior, so why don't they discuss things calmly? He can pay double, even triple what Granny would pay. But the warrior changed his mind and said he'd pay 5 times as much. Maybe 10. Although Granny has money thanks to the scarlet-colored chamber, and he has even more. Ak told him to shut up and punched him, saying how can you treat women like that? He'll forgive the warrior for daring to put a sword to her throat. Ak gave them a good beating and Ho's gang calmed down and asked the guys who they were. Surin asked Ho who killed the elder. Surin realized that this guy was just a third-rate warrior, he couldn't even control his reaction. Ho said he didn't do it. Surin told him that the elder's death was the most profitable for him. Ho said that his father would have died in a couple of years, so why would he kill him? He said that the guys thought he was his only child. Surin was surprised and asked him if there were other children. He was told that Ho was his only one. Ho said they weren't registered under his name, but he had a lot of children from his mistresses. Ho asked if the woman knew about them. Didn't they come to ask for money? The woman told Ho to shut up and not say anything. Surin said they had nothing more to do here and had to go. Who was the last suspect? He asked. Cheon said he would take him to him. Going to the next suspect, Ak asked that he still didn't understand how a son could say such a thing about his father. Cheon said it was a mistake and a childhood mistake. Surin intervened and said that because of money parents sell their children and children kill their parents. Money decides everything, because of it a long-standing friendship can turn into enmity. Lovers who have sworn to love each other forever may suddenly decide to destroy their partner. Those who live a miserable existence and those who have fun in a brothel differ only in the amount of money in their pockets. Everyone says that there are things more precious than money, but in the end they can only hold on to them with money. Freedom, the opportunity to develop their talents, vows to their lovers, a happy family. Those who have a hard time earning a piece of bread, can only dream of a happy life. So with money, people have opportunities, Surin said. And it's for money that he wants to go to the Heavenly Dragon Academy. When Surin met the last suspect, he looked more suspicious than the others. Surin told Mr. Pak that his stories of his exploits as a mercenary warrior are very impressive. Pak said that he wandered the world and became a mercenary when he was younger, but he started a new life after he got married. Surin said that the new life is like a pawn of an illegal moneylender. Pak answered Surin that he thinks it's easy to get a job with that face. Elder Ho helped him and offered him a job. Cheon said that it's not known yet, and there's no guarantee that he's telling the truth. Pak lowered his head and said that he didn't do it. Surin analyzed him and realized that he seems to be the most honest of all the others. Pak lowered his hands and said, if he's a suspect, so be it. He asked, did you guys find his will? After saying that, Surin was surprised and asked what will. Pak heard that he had declared an heir in his will. Didn't the guys know about him? Surin froze and couldn't say anything. Surin asked Cheon why he didn't say there was a will. Cheon said if it became public, there would be a riot. Surin said that the entire Murim is watching this development, so there's a chance that a civilian was killed by demonic technology. Cheon may not like the fact that they're suddenly joining the investigation, but he's asking him to help them find the culprit. Cheon accepted their offer and said they would go to the crime scene tomorrow. It's too dark tonight. Surin realized that Cheon wasn't going to say anything until the end. Ak asked him why he was looking at Cheon like that. Surin said it's just his habit. Surin knew that he was always observing people, analyzing them, and remembering everything about them. It was because of this that he had stayed in the Blood Demon sect for so long. In the evening in his room, Surin was thinking that what he was most concerned about was the traces of the demon sect's technique. It could very well be that the Blood Demon sect had done it. He realized that he had gotten involved in something more complicated than he had thought. Suddenly AK burst into the room and told Surin that something like this was happening outside. Surin asked him why he was shouting in the middle of the night. Ak said that people were saying that Elder Ho's house was on fire. When they arrived, they verified the people's words. Strangely enough, Cheon came too. Surin asked him what happened. Cheon said Ho-il committed arson. They found a body inside the house that looked like him. Surin said he committed suicide. Cheon pulled out a piece of paper and said they found a suicide note. Surin realized that Ho was not the man to atone for his sins, and he was not an arsonist. Ak read the note and said that means the problem is solved. Cheon said that although they received the answer unexpectedly, the case is now closed. The Murim authorities thanked the guys for their help. He will stay and deal with the rest. Ak said they understand and it's better for him and Surin to go back. But suddenly Surin said he's not going anywhere. Surin said he had something to discuss with the Podanim. Ak should go back to his room alone. On his way home, Cheon felt that someone was following him. So he drew his sword and asked who was there. Surin stepped into the light and showed himself. Cheon asked him why he had come here. Surin thought for a long time and said it was because of the technique the killer used. Cheol said Surin meant the technique of the demonic sect that he couldn't figure out. Surin said that he suddenly realized that this is part of the Holwa martial art used by the Blood Demon sect. Surely Cheon knows that even though demonic martial arts makes him strong, it will cause problems later on. You can go crazy and even start killing. Cheon asked him why he was telling him this. Surin said that the guy knows the technique of Adyu. Holwu is a safe enough art, but only if he's trained properly. Cheon didn't know what Surin was talking about. The guy said that technicians have the ability to make their eyes red under the influence of strong emotions. It also causes body aches, digestive problems, and emotional sensitivity. And Cheon tried not to show any emotion because he was afraid of being exposed, didn't he ask Surin? Cheon said he's always like this. Surin smiled and said that's what he said. At first they suspected the assistant, but experienced warriors like him wouldn't do such a thing. Besides, it's a complicated technique, so the brothel owner and Elder Ho's son couldn't have learned it. But what about the weak boy who wanted to become a Murim warrior no matter what? Cheon said he had a rich imagination. But who would believe it? Surin told him to look at his shoes, there are traces of smoke on them. Did you change your shoes after fleeing the scene of the crime? Surin asked. Surin said that Cheon's position doesn't matter. If he denounces him, he will be kicked out. He rushed too fast and ruined everything. Why did Cheon kill Elder Ho? The boy asked. Cheon told Surin to shut up. Surin wants to know why he killed him. Because he was his father. Now Surin realized that the heir's name in the will was also his. Surin warned Cheon that by using this technique, he was shortening his life. Cheon was angry and attacked Surin with his attack. But the guy reacted in time and got away from the attack. Cheon was surprised to see this and realized that the fight would not be easy. After a few attacks, Surin said he was too slow and threw him over his shoulder. He asked Cheon where he learned how to do that. Cheon said it was after his mom died, when he cried at her grave. The man in dark clothes gave him a book on martial arts. He said that if Cheon learns this technique, he will have great power. For a weakling like him, this book helped him a lot. Thanks to this case, he got a job as a Podu. Not long after, Elder Ho came to him and told him that he was his real father and that he was sorry that his mother had died. Cheon realized that even though he knew how Cheon lived, he didn't care. So he decided to kill Elder Ho. But Cheon didn't care about his wealth. Surin said that means his name was in the will. Cheon said he didn't care, but he didn't want it to be known. Cheon told Surin to just kill him because he doesn't want the money. Surin said it's fine. But he won't report him. Surin said he would pretend it didn't happen and it would be their secret. Cheon asked him why such kindness. Surin said that instead, how about giving him this useless will in exchange for his life? Cheon asked him, does he want the will? Surin said yes. Then Cheon should quietly close this case and get rid of Holwoo's side effects. Cheon said he doesn't want to make the contents of the will public. He'd rather die than tell who his real father is. Surin said, how can you be so naive? Cheon said, why is he naive? Because he always has a plan. The next day the woman was glad and said how she liked it, for it was all hers, and the ward of the scarlet flower, and the old man's inheritance. The woman said if his idiot son hadn't killed him, she would have done it herself. All she has to do is find the will, and even if she doesn't find it, she can just forge it. She'll have a small sect forge the document and bribe the authorities. And that will be enough. Suddenly someone at the door told the landlady that Podu had come. The landlady told him to let him in. The hostess greeted Podunim and asked why he had decided to drop by again. Cheon said they had found Elder Ho's will. Cheon said since the hostess was close to him, they decided to tell her first, and Mr. Pak too. The woman was very happy that they found her will. Who would have thought that the famous Podu Cheon would interfere with her plans? The woman asked who came with Cheon. The guy said he was the heir to the fortune. The woman was shocked when she heard that. The guy said he brought his father's will. Let the woman read it. After reading it, she said it was impossible. The woman firmly said she's against it. She's never even met him, and this is his son, she asked. They don't even know if it's his son or not. The will could be fake too. Cheon said that they have already confirmed the authenticity of the will and the person's status. If she doesn't agree with it, then she is questioning the authority of the city government. The woman sat on her butt and said she didn't mean it. The guy said he realizes it's all very sudden and she's shocked, but let her hear his story. Her mother used to be her father's maid. That's how his mother died. And he moved to another town. And when he happened to be here, his father. Pak felt sorry for the guy and said he felt sorry for him. The guy said that's why he's asking her for a favor. He doesn't know much about business, so he's not sure he can handle everything his father left behind. And he needs her help. Cheon called her a rat, trapped in a trap. They are ready to attack even a cat. It's better if they take his side. Cheon asked her if she would help him. After all, her duties would remain the same. If he looked after them sometimes, it would be hard for them to rebel against them. And if that didn't work, he would just send them away. Pak said he could count on him to help. The woman hesitated for a long time and finally she agreed. The guy was lucky that the woman assessed the situation very quickly. And he thanked them all for their help. Cheon came out of the alley and praised Surin. The guy said it was for his own benefit. Cheon would make a good actor too. Cheon said he did it for his own profit. Soon the landlady's son will go to jail for life for tax evasion, violence and extortion. Surin said he'd better deal with the landlady, she's too greedy. But now's not the best time, how about 6 months from now? Cheon told the guy to keep his promise and deal with the illegal business. Surin told him not to worry, he knows he's an honest man. Cheon said that Surin's words were very arrogant. Surin laughed and asked, will Cheon die if he says thank you? Surin said that if they were going to see each other often, maybe they should leave all the formalities aside. He thinks they are about the same age. The next day, Surin arrived at the Murima Alliance. Ko met him and said that if the culprit was the sun, he would be punished by the heavens themselves. But thanks to Surin, everything was solved, he was really smart. Surin said that he did not do anything wrong, the killer set fire to the house and committed suicide. After all, he could not learn anything about demonic techniques. Ko said that it's not a big deal, it's fine. It's not easy to learn something about demonic martial arts practitioners. Surin knew the truth, that he hid the fact that Elder Ho was killed with the martial art of Howu. Because if he told the truth, he would have to explain how he knew what it was. Ko told the guy not to worry about the exam, he'll write him a great cover letter. He'll even give him an honorary award. Everything will be fine, even if Surin makes a fuss at the interview. Surin has solved the problem with the recommendation. Then it's time for him to go to the Scarlet Flower Chamber and finish what he started. Poke told Surin that he had cleaned up the hotel, bar and store warehouses that the elder had been tending to. Surin said that PLK had organized everything well done. Pak laughed and thanked Surin for the encouragement. Surin understood why Pak was like this, it must be because he was roaming around, he can adapt quickly. Even while Elder Ho was alive, he took on a lot of dirty work as a guard, he will be useful in the future. Surin asked the Pak guard if he could get elixirs with strong yen energy for him. If the yen energy is strong and the efficiency is high, it doesn't matter if they have poison in them. Poke said he'd check it out at the tramp market. He knows a couple people there. Surin immediately took note that this market should be actively trading weapons. He asked Poke to introduce him to a skilled blacksmith who could keep secrets. Poke asked him if he wanted to forge something. Surin said he couldn't tell everything, but since it's a risky business, he should be able to keep secrets. Poke said he understood and would ask. Surin was glad, because he had done it much easier than he thought. Isn't that great? Surin said that the money problem was solved. He really didn't know much about the world. But what about Howu's martial art? The Blood Demon sect has been destroyed, there should be no one left who knows about it. Has the Blood Demon sect really ceased to exist? AK went into the room and asked his brother where he had been the last few days. Surin said he was nowhere, and if he told him, AK would be in danger. AK asked Surin, is he having fun himself? Surin said no, and he is going to bed. Ak told him he could sleep, but first let him look at it. Surin asked why, and what is it? Ak said he took it off the door on the street. Surin read, and it was the vacancy for the new mentor of the Heavenly Dragon Academy had finally opened and Surin should get ready. Ak told him to read below. Surin couldn't believe his eyes when he read below. What kind of nonsense is this? The students themselves vote and choose their mentor. Heavenly Dragon Academy mentor vacancy candidates who have passed the initial screening, document verification, and practical exam will be hired as temporary mentors for 3 months. And temporary mentors will be evaluated each month, the winner will be selected based on a final evaluation of the number of student votes collected. The winner becomes a permanent mentor in the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Surin was thinking of becoming a temporary mentor. He would have a permanent salary. Ak said that everything except this is described in detail, strange as it may seem. Surin asked, do they expect him to tiptoe around the kids? Ak said that he heard that they will only choose 5 temporary mentors, even though there are over 100 candidates already signed up. They're probably being watched. Surin has made up his mind and said the papers should be up after tomorrow. And the interview is in 4 days, right? Ak said yes. Surin has a letter of recommendation, so there's no need to worry about paperwork. And the interview is still 4 days away. Thanks to the 18 blows of rejection triumph, he won't have any problems with martial arts. It would be good to raise the heaven-defying spiritual art to the 2nd level. Ak told the guy, whether it's martial arts or a job interview, you can't change anything in a couple days. They need to approach it strategically, look on the bright side. Ak said that if they're going to talk about it, Surin needs different training. He thought of that when they met. Surin asked the guy to let go of his hand. Ak told him no, they have to get ready. Surin will understand when they get there. After some time had passed, the day of the interview for the mentors of the Heavenly Dragon Academy had arrived. Observers said that a lot of people came, even after half of them were screened out at the ID check. The blonde man said that compared to the past, the reputation of the Heavenly Dragon Academy is no longer so glorious. There are so many people who want to be at the top. The girl said that they will have to disperse those mentors who talk a lot but don't know how to fight. The guy said of course, only the most capable can stay. There will be a new Celestial Emperor this year. This blonde guy was a senior student of Heavenly Dragon Academy. His name was Tak Kojin. His motivation was to restore Heavenly Dragon Academy to its former glory. The man said the candidates for the new mentor position can enter the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Tak asked the girl if there was anyone useful among them. The girl replied that there were many people, but she suddenly froze. Tak saw the girl's face and wondered what had happened to her. Is there really a master among this bunch of people? Surin asked the guy if by preparation, he meant clothes. Ak said that's enough. Let Surin trust him. When people saw the guys, they said they were both candidates for the new mentor. The tall one on the left, what eyes he has. Surin got angry and said, why do people act like something special has happened? AK asked him if he was embarrassed. AQ said that the disciples are happy for him, doesn't he feel the same way? Surin asked, who said he is happy? He's actually embarrassed. It annoys him, is his face really that beautiful? But he's resigned to the fact that they're definitely attracting attention. Only Surin doesn't know how it'll help with the interview. AK said it'll help more than he thinks. It's the best way to get the students to like him. Tak told Tan Soso to look at him. AK immediately raised his head and said that someone was shouting, what happened? Surin didn't know and told him to forget. At the top, Tan Soso shouted and told the boys that they were accepted without questioning by the student council. But Tak managed to shut her up. After standing in line for a long time, AK said that they are next after these 3. Surin said that apparently yes. But suddenly, Ak met an old acquaintance from the inn. It was that fat guy. Ak said he was the fat guy from the inn. The guy got angry and asked him who he called the fat guy. But no one expected the fat man to get hit in the face, and he didn't expect it. He asked who did it. The stranger told him why he was arguing with innocent people. Let the fat man stay out of the way of his mentors. He was told his interview was a failure. Ak told Surin that now he understood why he said to dress up. They made a good impression even standing still. But suddenly the elder came out and told everyone to stop. From now on, everyone who makes noise will be punished. The elder pointed at the boys and said it was their business too. If they make any noise, he doesn't care if they're here for an interview or not, he'll kick them out. AK said they didn't do anything, they just stood there while he. Elder approached the fat man and told him that if his interview was over he should leave the area immediately and why was he making noise. The elder told the guys that they had to leave too. AK immediately began to apologize. And Surin at that time faded away, because they did not even have time to pass the interview. But suddenly the people around started asking the elder not to kick the guys out. After all, they didn't do anything wrong and they won't make any noise. The elder told them to wait their turn only quietly. The boys turned into little puppies with joy and thanked him. Surin thought he could get people on his side with just his looks. Ak said he felt better, he thought they'd be kicked out. Surin started to show himself in front of people. AK noticed it and said that he wanted Surin to realize what he looked like, but not to lower himself to such a level. Surin asked, "Who was that man?" AK said the elder in charge of the disciples, as he had been told. Hearing this, Surin was surprised and changed his face. AK asked him if he knew him. Without meaning to, Surin said he was here for the first time, how could he know him? Sure, Surin was sure in his head that he didn't know him, but why did he seem so familiar to him? But suddenly they were summoned and all thoughts went away. The elder and Surin crossed eyes as they entered the interview, and the elder thought he had seen this guy somewhere. The boys went into the interview room and the teachers said that it was expected that all the people present at the interview were not easy. In the center is the thousand-armed Gu Ennying, on the left is a blazing sword, and there on the right seems to be 3 sharp swords. The head of the Heavenly Dragon Academy, Gun San, was a mentor in the Blood Demon sect and was chosen from hundreds of other masters. Even within the sect, he was called a scumbag, but he seemed to have changed a lot. And on this side is the flaming sword of Kwak Chorvo. Surin has heard that he uses Yengon martial arts, but he doesn't know it very well. And on the other side is the 3 sharp sword, Namgun Su. He is a member of the Namgun clan and the head mentor at the Heavenly Dragon Academy. This is his current target. Chorvo said to start the 16th interview. Ak introduced himself and said he wanted to become a spear-wielding mentor. Surin introduced himself and said that he is from Hviching, that he is a simple man and his father is ruling. Suddenly the teachers asked him who the king of spears is to him. AK said that Surin was his father's cousin. The teacher asked if they had seen him recently. Ak said, of course they had. Namgun asked Surin, why does he want the position of external martial arts mentor? Surely he can still wield a sword and other martial arts, such as memorizing and synchronizing attacks. Namgun said Surin can talk. He seems to have a poor grasp of internal martial arts. Surin said that his mastery of internal martial arts really leaves a lot to be desired. But that doesn't mean that his external martial arts are bad. Namgun said that Surin has enough experience. He decided to come to the Heavenly Dragon Academy after teaching the kids in the village. Does he think it's so easy to get in? AK intervened and said that even if he is, Namgun is being over the top and rude. Surin suggested that he check to see if he's lying or not. Namgun got angry and said what kind of person is he to talk to him like that? He's going to smash him into the wall right here with nothing but physical force. Namgun asked Surin what's wrong. Wouldn't that be enough to confirm what he said? AK intervened in the conversation and apologized to the teachers. The elder was watching them and said that Sereno's face was very familiar. He must be the son of one of the graduates. But when he flipped through the book, he was surprised and could not believe his eyes. He seemed to realize whose son he was and who he was. Namgun couldn't calm down after the interview. He said Surin had decided to defeat him by physical force only. Teacher told Namgun's mentor not to get upset. Surin had the nerve to draw attention to himself. We should just take him off the list. Grandpa said he thinks differently, that Surin is very funny. He thinks he should be passed on with AK and Myung. Under his responsibility. What do the other teachers say? The teacher asked him why he was saying such things. The old man said that they had attracted his attention. At his age, he can generally predict what martial arts his opponent has and how he will develop. But with this young man, it's hard to say what will happen. Namug said it's the first time he's heard the old man praise someone. The old man said it's not praise. He just wants to see him again. It's possible he's just a temperamental weirdo. The old man asked Namgun if he was worried. Namgun said, why should he be worried, he's just a show-off. Namgun said, if the old man has decided that it's his responsibility, he just hopes Surin won't disappoint him. The old man said it would be fine. Even if it's only for the good of the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Ak asked Surin if he'd gone too far. Surin said it's okay. AK really thinks that they let the head mentor fight with the newcomer. And if they had lost, how would they have handled the embarrassment? AK asked, so Surin did it on purpose? The guy said they remembered him well. AK asked him what if Surin didn't pass. Surin said he would build a huge mansion on the other side of the road and call it the White Dragon Academy. The guy in the back apologized for interrupting their conversation and said he was very impressed with their behavior during the interview. He was in the same group with them. His name is Myung Ilho, from Sandon. He's a candidate for the mentor position. Myung said that he had met Mr. Ak before. Did he remember him? Ak asked him when they met. Myung said it was at Mrs. Yunhua's 20th birthday party. There were a lot of people there, so you could guess that Mr. Ak wouldn't remember. Myung said it's okay that Ak didn't remember, because fate brought them back together. Can they go get something to eat? Ak said his offer sounds great, but what does Surin think? The guy agreed too and they went out for a snack. Myung asked them if they knew what was going to happen in the practice session. Surin said, isn't it kept secret until the day of the test? After all, they're competitors. Myung said it's true, but it's easy to get information. And if he fails the test, it's his fault. In addition, there may be another chance to pass the test, but there can only be one chance to meet them. Surin said that they accept friendship. And then they accept his generosity, and Ak in exchange to pay for the drinks. Ak said why Surin is singled out, but he pays. Surin asked the master to come and get a bottle of his best alcohol. Suddenly he saw an old man in front of him. The old man asked Surin to step aside for a moment. He wanted to ask him something in private. Surin smiled and stepped aside with him. The old man said he'd only ask him one question. What is his father's name? Surin asked, what does his father have to do with it? But suddenly he remembered that at the Heavenly Dragon Academy, he could meet his grandfather from his mother's side. And his father told him that Surin would like him because he looks like his mother, Jagbin. The old man asked him why he was silent. He asked him again, what is his father's name? Isn't his name Baek Muhung? Surin saw that his grandfather is a real martial artist. Even though he is old, he trains his body, and his breathing is clear and completely under control. The old man said it's the guy's last chance. What's his father's name? Surin noticed what an incredible aura of bloodlust his grandfather had. Surin took a stand and realized that in this case he had no other choice. The old man said that he was right. It would be better for Surin if he fought to kill him. But it was Surin who would die. Surin knew that if he lied, Grandpa would realize it. But first he had to try to survive this fight. Surin bowed and greeted his grandfather, saying that he was his grandson Baek Surin and smiled widely at him. The old man asked who he called Grandpa. If he calls him Grandpa again, he'll cut his tongue out. Surin lowered his head and said that his mother's name was Mei Yagbin. Even if the old man cuts off his tongue, it won't change the fact that it's true. Surin saw his grandfather approaching him and thought he was finished. But he took him by the cheeks and said that Surin looked a lot like her. Her eyes are just like hers, and her hands too. And if you look closely, her lips are similar too. Surin saw his grandfather crying and didn't understand what was happening to him. Grandpa told Surin why he didn't tell him he was his grandson right away. Surin said he wanted to confess when he became a mentor at the Heavenly Dragon Academy. The grandfather was surprised and said that Surin could do it because he was his grandson. The boy smiled and said he was sure he could do it. But suddenly Grandpa changed and said Surin had upset him, because he had that bastard smile, so Surin shouldn't smile when he's not. Surin wondered why his grandfather goes from extreme to extreme. Or does he have anger management? Surin told him that after meeting his grandfather, he realized that he was really his mother's son. And don't let him worry about his father. The old man told him to behave himself, because Baek is still his father. But of course it's true that he's a bastard. Grandpa told him that the conversation was over and he could go back. Surin said that he would visit him more often in the future. The old man was angry again, because he had told the boy not to smile, he didn't hear him at all. Surin thought, why is his grandfather so nervous and furious? AK asked him if he was all right when he got back to the pub. Surin scratched his head and asked, "What happened?" Myung said that to think Surin had a one-on-one interview with the Sword of Madness, Rakshasa. Ak asked, "Is Sword of Madness the nickname of this old man?" Myung said of course, didn't they know that? Sword of Madness Mae Kaigrim, he is an expert in military affairs. After retiring, he decided to become a mentor and has been working at the Heavenly Dragon Academy for 30 years. He is the elder responsible for all the disciples who behave indecently in public places. He is the messenger of death. AK asked, "Does indecent behavior mean students dating each other?" Myung said yes, and he heard that his own daughter had a crush on a student at Heavenly Dragon Academy. Then they got married and ran away together. Surin got angry because he knew who he was talking about and said that the stories for today are enough. After all, they did not send the past here to discuss. AK asked why, because he was interested in listening. Surin changed the whole conversation and asked Myung how the practical assignments are. Myung said that from what he knows, he can only say that there will be 2 assignments. The first is a lecture. They will need to give a lecture to students and other mentors. Students' voices account for 50% of the grade, so it's important to watch their reactions. The second assignment is a battle. They will have to compete against the mentors of the academy and prove their abilities. You don't have to win. But if you do, it will be a plus. Surin asked who would choose their opponents. Myung said that the guy would probably prefer to choose Nam Gungsu, but he was told that it would be the head of the academy who would choose. Surin thought that Mo Gun-san would want to see him fight Nam Gongsu. On one hand, if he fought him, he could show himself as a good mentor. Myung said that what's really important is to make a good impression on the students. He's not really worried about the fight. Surin asked, "Is there a reliable way to do that?" Myung said, "What if before the battle to assess his opponent, to understand what the students want, you need to visit a place where these students are many." He took out a piece of paper and said that fortunately, the student council has organized a night festival. It's a good opportunity to go there. When he came to the festival, AK was surprised and said that there were more people than he expected, and a lot of townspeople too. Surin said that although it was called the Heavenly Dragon Academy Festival, it was more of a festival for the whole city. Myung said he saw them during the interview. They must have had the same idea as us. Looks like it, said Ak. But suddenly a girl came over to their table and said hello, asking if they were candidates for the mentors who had been interviewed yesterday. She didn't have time to say anything before 2 men came up and grabbed her, saying that the rules of the academy forbid having intimate relations with the opposite sex. The girl said she just wanted to say hello. The guys said that they would listen to her excuses later. We should talk to the student council first. Ak said he noticed that some of the students here have a similar aura. Are they all from the student council? It's very strange that they're so observant that there's no connection between different sex students. Suddenly Surin told them to calm down. Surin thought they'd seen enough and it was time to go back. AK cried and said they hadn't been here long enough. Let's stay a while longer. But suddenly, something happened and some flames flew near the guy's table. It was a guy who was very drunk and was beating up a guy. Surin saw this guy and said, "Wild demon." The guy turned around and asked Surin, did he just call him a wild demon? The guy asked how dare Surin say his nickname in front of him. But Surin looked at him and laughed. The guy's more pissed off about it. Surin said he's laughing at his reaction. He's a lot more fun than all those literate faces. The guy asked, how dare Surin talk to him like that, because he knows who he is and still insults him. But as the guys suddenly came and dragged him away, saying to Hongwon Kang's disciple, does he realize how he's acting? When Surin heard his name, he recognized him. He looks exactly like Hongwon Hu. But he said he didn't have any children. So he's just a close relative. Kang said he had nothing to say, tell the guards to get out. The guards told him if he tried to get closer, they would use force. Kang couldn't stand it and scattered the 2 of them, saying, how dare the 6th graders of the student council interfere with him? Let them try if they can. The guards drew their weapons and said that they were not going to tolerate this behavior any longer and that it was better for him to calm down. Kang laughed and said that they are idiots, they can't even speak their own words, so let them attack. The guard said he was asking for it and attacked him. But Kang grabbed their weapons and said that was all they could do. It's clear what level the student council is at now. The guards tried to tie Kong up, but they couldn't. Kong was so strong that he could stand up to the two of them. AK was watching the battle and said that these two work well together. They seem to be trained to understand each other with half a word. Surin said no, really amazing fighting. This scoundrel, Hongwon Kong, is really strong. Although his stance is sloppy due to drinking, he manages to dodge and block almost lethal attacks. And all with a slight smile. People came up and said that Kong is fighting again, he's always getting into fights. They don't understand why he hasn't been kicked out of the academy yet. Surin heard this and realized that these guys hate him. But in fact, underneath the disgust and hatred is fear. He has a talent for inducing almost instinctive fear in people. But why does he use such a ridiculous martial art? Surin said it's weird, it's a Hongwon clan martial art. Ak told him that he would tell Surin later. Khan said he's bored, he can calculate all their moves. And it's time to end it all. But strangely enough, a bunch of guards came and surrounded the guy. Kong asked if they were all going to jump on him. Ak said the situation is escalating, should they intervene? Myung said they can't, if they intervene unnecessarily, their exams will fail. But a guy with a very strange aura came to the scene of the fight and told Kanu to behave himself. Kong was surprised to see this guy and called him Fek Sahek. Fek said he should have sobered up by now, so let him go back to his room and sleep it off. Kong sent him away and told him not to interfere. Pek told him, he thinks it's a polite request or something. He told him to get out and not to piss him off. Unless he wants to lose the last vestiges of his clan's honor. Surin asked, who is this Pyang Sahek? Ak was surprised and said, doesn't he know about the heir to the Habuk Pyang family? Feek Saheng is the head of the Heavenly Dragon Academy's Club Alliance. He is one of the strongest disciples of the Heavenly Dragon Academy, on par with Tuk Kojin, the head disciple and head of the Disciple Council. And Habuk Pyong is one of the 5 great clans. Weren't they competing with the Hongwon clan, trying to prove whose martial arts are more powerful? Surin asked. Kong got angry and started to leave. Pek told him to keep covering for his rat family. AK told Surin in his ear that something had happened between their families. Surin said he had a lot of stories to listen to later. Ak got tired and said they should go. Surin asked why, because he was just whining that he wanted to stay and have fun. Pyang approached them and said that he was wondering who they were, because they were interviewing for a new mentor. He remembered them because of their colorful appearance. He introduced himself as the head of the Club Alliance, Fek Sahek. Pek said that he wanted to address the mentors who are here today. First of all, he congratulates them on their successful interview. Surin realized that Fek invited them for a reason. He is powerful and has important information, so be on his side. Isn't that what he wants to tell all the guys? Bastards like him lack education. We must punish him. Fek said that he hoped that the practical part would go just as well. Everyone started shouting with joy and thanking him. AK was shocked and said that Fek was crazy. He is not the heir to one of the 5 great clans, but a laughing stock. Surin told him not to get excited. He should order something to drink and eat, and more expensive. Surin went outside and a guy was walking towards him, he told him to come to him. He told him to call someone. But the guy said he was very busy. Surin told him everything in his ear, as the guy got out of his seat and started running, saying that he would call them immediately. Myung went outside and saw Bek's brother and asked, he said he went to the bathroom, so why is he here? It's all up there. Surin asked if someone fought. Myung said it's not that. Pyung insults aka, rumor has it that he knew things were bad between them, but he didn't realize how bad it was. Myung said that they are mentors in name only. Apparently, Pyung wants to take full control as the heir to one of the 5 great clans. Surin told him not to worry, he wouldn't let it go. He's not going to tolerate this kind of attitude towards his mentor from the student who's going to learn from him. Suddenly, a loud explosion was heard from the room. Surin asked what it was. Myung said they should go back inside immediately. Pyang told mentor AK that if he acts like this, he'll get in trouble. And he won't even look at him if he's drunk or not. After all, he dared to mock a disciple. Does he think that this will help him become the mentor of the Heavenly Dragon Academy? Ak said he tore it up. Pyong laughed and said that Ak said that while holding the proof in his hands, that's arrogance. Surin went up to Pyong and said, why don't you start acting like it? Pyong said that mentor Beck was back. He didn't come back, he thought Beck had run away like a rat. Then he got a slap from Surin. Fek stood up and said how dare Surin raise his hand. Surin said he's not a crazy bastard. It's Fek talking to his honorable mentor. Peck said that someone here doesn't know what's going on. So Surin is harassing students and beating them up. And damaging property. Coming very close to Surin, he asked, are you even stealing? What other crimes has he committed? Surin asked him why he was late. Surin had asked him to bring them a long time ago. Fek asked, what do you mean, bring them? But suddenly, Cheon burst into the room with an army of warriors. Beck asked him what was going on. Cheon said that he had been informed that underage people were drinking alcohol here. Peck was very surprised by his words. Cheon went up to the guy and told him to show his ID. Feek said it's a martial arts thing. There's no reason for the city government to get involved. Cheon asked, is this the work of the masters, then? Did someone here use demonic arts? Beck apologized and asked for a repeat. Cheon said he thought that if he heard the word martial arts, all is forgiven. Beck asked who reported them. But that was confidential information. Surin intervened and said he did it. Fek got angry and said Surin called out the city government, doesn't he have the pride of a martial arts master? Cheon said he'd have to come down, they'd investigate. Fuke said it was just an accident, they were just having a drink, that's all. Cheon said if it was an accident, then something happened. He'll have to go with them all the more. Feek said if Podu chooses to ignore it this time, he will repay the kindness. Cheon said that bribery and interference in the investigation have been added. The guy said he's Peck from the Haben Pyong family. Cheon said that he'll reveal his identity in his office. Peck said he didn't mean it. In fact, this man abused the female students at their academy when he was drunk. Surin also beat up those who tried to stop him. During the fight he broke a table, that's how it happened. Peck asked, everyone saw it, didn't they? People began to agree and say it was just like Peck said. Fek told Podu if he heard, he didn't do anything. Ak told Podu he was lying. Fek did it all, not Surin. He got them into this on purpose. He swears on the name of the AK clan that he's telling the truth. Peck told him he's crazy. How can you put your family's name on the line? AK said what's wrong with that? Does he have the courage to say the same thing? Fuke said that Ak is an idiot and his words carry more weight than his. Does Ak know what Hongwan's family has been through? Ak said what else should he do? And why does Peck address him as you? Is he his friend? Surin said that all martial artists are the same. He just wanted to have dinner together. But suddenly an old man came in and asked what was going on. Surin said that Mr. Fek had invited them all for dinner. When he saw all this delicious food, he immediately thought of his grandfather. The elder asked Fek what was going on here. But he decided to ask Podu, what is going on here? Podu said he would explain everything and he did. The old man said that to summarize, while drinking alcohol, Fek had damaged someone else's property and tried to bribe Podu. In addition, some of the students' clothes were torn, and the students were bitten. And after it was revealed, he tried to cover up his guilt by putting his family's honor on the line. The old man said they were scoundrels. How dare they call themselves Heavenly Dragon Academy students after this? Surin saw that in the presence of the elder who was in charge of them, they couldn't even say a word. The elder told Podu that his students had behaved abominably. It was his fault, he should have educated them better. He decided he would take responsibility for it. Pak thought about it and looked at Surin. And he told him to limit it to a warning. Pak said that it was more his fault for embarrassing him by pushing the young men. He's leaving, but he hopes that the old man will talk to his students. The old man thanked him for his understanding. Surin said we should remember that replacing the furniture will cost the owner a lot of money. Maybe someone should compensate for that. Peck said that of course the owner would be compensated and he would pay for everything. The old man said that the academy would pay for the damage. Fek realized that the family would shame him if they found out. He would have to deal with it personally. Poke said that if everything was settled, he'd go on. The old man looked at the guys and said he wasn't in the mood for dinner, so he'd go too. The old man told Fek that they are all coming with him. They better not even think about running away. They are all waiting for a one-on-one conversation. The people in the back wanted to leave, because they were already tired of it all. Surin told them before they left, could he tell them something? The people started apologizing that they were mistaken and didn't realize that he was the grandson of an elder. Surin told them to be ashamed. After this they think they are worthy to be mentors. The head of the academy told his man to pay 10 times as much for yesterday's incident at the tavern. The man told the lord that the heir of the Pyong family would pay. If they asked for 10 times as much, they would have questions. The head told him to write down that if he didn't want to pay 10 times as much, then an elder from the academy would get the bill. Surin broke the news to his friends. Myung told him that the test will be in 10 days. Surin said it's nothing, it won't take long. Myung asked him if something bad had happened. Surin said it's nothing like that, on the contrary. Something favorable to him has happened. And it will help him prepare for the test. The man told the guy that this is the place where vagrants trade. It used to be a market where you could buy or sell a skillful or strong vagrant, but now it's a black market where you can sell anything, or rather, what you are willing to buy. There may be, said man, a lot of dangerous people here, but he's safe, the Lord is in good hands. Surin asked where is the elixir and the blacksmith. He wants to see the elixir first. The seller asked him how it was. You can immediately feel that it's full of yang energy. Surin said he doesn't know, it doesn't look like the real thing. It seems like the root is real and first class. Surin realized that it was a great find and he liked it a lot. One root would be enough. Surin asked Pak, this blacksmith, what kind of man is he? Pak said that no one knows his real name, they just call him Old Man V. He's as strong as a bear and stubborn as hell. Surin said he hoped his skill could match his stubbornness. Pak said not to worry about it. According to rumors, when Old Man V first appeared here, his swords had saved the lives of wandering warriors many times. At first they were going to use them once and then throw them away, but no matter how many battles the swords had been in, they wouldn't break. Surin said if it's true, then they're at the level of swords that will be given names. If these rumors are true, of course. Pak said right, but Old Man V says these swords were culled and calls them crappy. Surin said it's a good story, so the other tramps must be lining up to buy these swords. Poke said it right, but here's the thing, one day Old Man V started asking the hobos to do something for him too. It is said that if you fulfill his request, he will create the sword he named. Can you imagine a craftsman who called such swords crappy? What a great sword he makes. Surin asked what Old Man Vi had asked for. Poke finally said he didn't know. Everyone, without fulfillment, who undertook to fulfill his request had died. Surin asked him if he's implying that he should try it too, right? Pak said no, even if he decides not to, if he has the money, he'll make a sword anyway. In general, he is stubborn, a skilled blacksmith, and also knows how to keep his mouth shut. He fits all your wishes. To be sure, he must see for himself. But suddenly someone flew out of the tent. The man was insulting the old man. Why is he doing this to him? He said he'd pay. The old man sent him away and said he'd never sell to someone like him. The man said he wouldn't leave it like that. Sadik asked him what he wanted to get for the road. The man shouted that he wouldn't leave it like that. Surin asked if the old man was the blacksmith. Surin said that Pak said he was. Surin said that Pak hadn't told him that the old man was a good martial artist. Pak was surprised because he didn't know it himself. The old man poked his head out and asked the guys who they were. Pak told Master Vi that they had learned of his skills and had come from far away to see him. The old man said they shouldn't talk to him, let them say what they want. Poke said they wanted him to make weapons. The old man said that it seems to be a weapon for that guy over there, is he right? Surin said the old man was right. Surin noticed that the old man had a tattoo of a red dragon on his body, that can't be right. Surin said he had a favor to ask of him. If he completes his task, will he agree to make him a celestial weapon? The old man said that means the guys know everything. Although everyone who tried died. Surin said that they are either crazy. The old man asked, knowing this, is the guy willing to try? Surin said yes, he agrees. But the old man doesn't mind if he does the assignment later. He has some business in a few days, so it's hard to do it right away. The old man laughed and told Surin to look into his eyes and stand up straight. The guy thought that the old man was going to evaluate him with a master's gaze. The old man said that Surin is not the best swordsman yet. When he reaches the right level, he will be an incredible master, but for now, he can break down at any moment. Let him come later. Surin realized that the old man was very observant. He must have somehow realized what was wrong with his body. Surin said he would come back later. The old man told him to take this sword. His name is Shadow of the Moon. The old man is sure Surin will find a good use for it. When he touched Surin's sword, he felt an unusual aura. The scabbard was tattered, but it was indeed the sword with the name Shadow Moon. But suddenly that man came and told the old man that he had warned him. He ordered the men to set fire to the tent and take everything inside. And let them see that the grandfather did not escape. Surin said you can tell just by the look on that bastard's face that he's taken drugs. That's why old man V chased him away. People asked the old man, what are those guys doing? They must be scared. If they're going to run, now's the time. Poke said, how dare they behave like this on the black market? Surin told them both to wait here and do nothing. Surin drew his sword and said that the scum who only know how to harm others. Today he will teach them a lesson. People told him how dare he talk like that when he's alone. But Surin was angry and started killing them all over again. Surin said they're not coordinated in any way. Their ambush is not so good either. Surin told them if they're going to fight, let them do it properly. Surin saw that they were not giving up and decided to test how sharp the sword was and cut one of the enemies in half. Surin looked at the sword and said that he wasn't sure, but it worked. It was better than he expected. People told the man that he'd gotten the information that only one old man needed to be killed. The man regretted it, because he should have just gone out for a drink. People started to run away from the scene, but Surin did not want to leave it like that and chased after them to kill them all. After all, they cannot get away from him. The old man saw Surin's battle and said that he takes back his words. Can he listen to his request? Sitting down at the table, V said that before he starts, he asks to kill a man. Surin said that the deal is for murder, so who should be killed? V said he can't tell yet. He's trying to find someone to kill him as soon as possible. If Surin kills him, he'll use all his powers to build any weapon the guy wants. Poke told the Lord that he couldn't just decide to do such a thing. Surin asked him to leave them alone for now. Just for a minute, he thought it would be a very private conversation. Surin told Elder Vi he had something to ask him. How did he end up here? The old man asked, what do you mean? Surin said that he wanted to know how the head of one of the great clans of the Blood Demon sect, the VG clan, ended up in such a place. The old man immediately realized that there was something wrong and attacked Surin with his fists, hoping to kill him, but the guy had time to react and dodged. Surin raised his fists and said that this technique of Old Man V, apparently he was right. The old man asked him who he was. Surin smiled and told him to calm down. He took off his mask and said that they were both in similar circumstances. The old man said it's unbelievable, is he a survivor too? Surin said he's a descendant of the survivors. If the old man doesn't believe him, he can prove it. Surin showed a couple of his techniques to the old man. V said it was a cult style, he hadn't seen it in a long time. He asked how the guy felt about the cult. Surin said he knew V would understand. His father taught him that, he was a disciple in the folk faction, in the sect. V said he didn't know his father, but he must have raised him well. V asked how he knew he was the head of the VG clan. Surin said he recognized the old man's tattoos, his father had told him about them, especially the red dragon on his left shoulder. He is hiding a holy sect blood demon sword. Surin had heard of his desire to make such a sword, which he fulfilled in the form of a tattoo. Surin asked the old man if his request had anything to do with the sect. The old man said there was no connection at all. Surin should kill his grandson and that's it. When Surin heard that, he realized that the situation was unusual, so he just followed him. He realized that he would have little time to get back to the beginning of the practical test. V said they had come. Surin saw the graves and asked whose graves they were. Vi said that these are the graves of his wife and son. And that kid is his grandson, Vg Jong, who's standing under the tree. He's the most untalented child ever born into their family. Surin can believe it. Surin asked the old man why he wanted to be killed. The old man cried and said that after he had lost his wife and son, his desire for revenge had led him to raise his grandson harshly. When the child saw his grandfather, he hurried to hug him and said that he missed him very much. The old man told him not to hurry or he would fall. The boy said that grandpa brought a guest. Vi said yes, because no one had visited them for a long time. The boy said that no one had visited him for a long time, and he was bored. The old man said that a couple of years ago he left his grandson alone for a couple of months, then a man in a black hat came and gave him a book. Surin remembered that the man in the black hat had also given him a book. He said that if he learned this technique, he would become powerful. The old man thought that the techniques recorded there belonged to a great martial art, but he realized too late that darkness had settled in Chang's heart. Surin said, "What was that technique?" Chang said he'd show the guy. The old man said he had to run fast. When Surin saw this, he was surprised and said that it was the sword technique of an unholy sword. How could this child know Moenhong's sword technique? Zhong asked his grandfather if he could kill this guy. He's bored. He hopes this brother doesn't die so quickly. Surin told V to stand aside and wait until they were done. The old man said he was relying on him. Surin drew his sword and said to Chan, "Shall we begin?" The child was very excited about the battle and smiled. Chan asked the guy if he would play with him. Surin took all his strength and started attacking him to end it quickly, but Surin asked him if he wanted to play with him. Don't let Zhong be so surprised, but let him try to increase the distance between them. He wants to see what Zhong has learned on his own. Chan immediately attacked the guy, telling him not to die quickly, or he wouldn't have as much fun. But with each of Chan's attacks, Surin was able to dodge, and the guy was already surprised by this, because before he had not been able to do this before, he killed immediately. Surin realized that the kid was fighting better than he expected, but the longer it lasted, the more chances he had to lose. Good thing he took the 9-leaf clover elixir before coming here. Surin started to provoke him and said that Zhong was a rascal. Surin attacked him and told him to stop playing around and get to the point of the fight and end it. Surin attacked him with his new technique. Zhong was surprised and said that it was his fighting technique. As he struck, Surin smiled and said that this technique had always been his. And struck Chan with his sword. Surin told the guy that his balance is better, let him straighten his back, he's standing like a slacker. He still has to learn and learn. The techniques he has learned are in his hands and only techniques are left, it's not a real martial art. Surin dodged his attack again. And Chan realized he was in a bad way as he flew backwards from the blow. Surin said that they are not done yet. In the martial arts world, sword wielding is the prerogative of the grateful. Have Chan keep his elbows close to his body, and relax his shoulders, and use his wrists more. After seeing Chan's technique, Surin said that he didn't think he would meet the technique that helped the Provi demon sect fall again. Chan said that it wasn't funny. Surin told him to calm down. But Chan was very angry and said he hates him and he's going to die today. Surin was calm and said that Chong didn't understand, but Uncle Surin would show him. He used the heavenly sword technique, the secret to truly wielding the heavenly sword. Seeing Zhong fall to his knees and was already weak, Surin said that's why it's important to have a good mentor. Surin brought him home and told him that Zhong was a fool, good thing he knows herbs, or they'd both be dead. Surin saw that this guy's chi was really distorted. It must be because of this scary technique. When he took the book, he said that it was easy to get chi distortion from such a thing, so the man gave him the book. Judging from his ability, he's somewhere on Hongwon Kang's level. It's obvious that after the man in the black hat handed over the book, he was watching the boy. Sometimes geniuses are born, who even not perfect technique will make perfect. Of course, Chan still managed to master the technique so well on his own, without a teacher. Surin saw that the boy could still be helped and used one of his old abilities, but suddenly Chan started screaming in pain. Surin said that if Jong can't hold on, he'll die. Let him hold on, Surin needs to absorb all the evil energy. Chan screamed in pain and even clutched the bed. But after going through everything, Surin said that everything had worked out and now it was his turn. Surin sat down and began to get rid of this unclean energy. After doing so, he said that thanks to the energy he had just absorbed, his own energy had finally calmed down. Surin said he could reach the third level of heaven-defying spiritual art. He has never experienced anything like this. But suddenly V burst into the room and asked what happened. "And how's Chan?" Surin said not to worry and kill him. He got rid of the evil energy. He'll probably wake up soon. Vi asked how he could repay Surin. But suddenly Chum woke up and said the first word, "Grandpa." V asked the boy if he was awake. Jong told his grandfather that he had nightmares. It was just a very long nightmare. V told the guy he'd do anything Surin asked him to do. Even if he demanded his life. Surin said he doesn't need his life. One sword is enough. A regular sword with a name on it won't do. Surin said that even if the weapon was small, it should be at least as strong as a blood demon sword. V saw the stone on the guy's hand and said it was a shooting star. Surin asked if the old man could make something even better than a blood demon sword. The old man said that it was his life's goal. The guy could believe it. The old man said he could do it, and there should be no problem. Elder Ho's inheritance includes a forge. And he chose him. Surin said that the two of them would go with him. Before the man in the black hat comes back, he has to get out of here. AK said today was the day of the practical test. "Where's brother Surin gone?" the old man asked the guy. "Surin hasn't come yet." AK laughed and said that he would come soon. AK asked Iljo if he had done a good job. Ilho said that the lecture was harder than he thought. Myung asked if Beck had come yet. Ak lowered his head and said he hadn't heard from him, as if he had vanished. Ak said they're in trouble, it's almost his turn. Elder May already asked about him once. The old man said he's not here yet, he's like his father. I guess he won't have to read Beck Surin's assignment. Ak asked him to wait. Let the elder give him some more time. Beck told the old man that what he was about to say was for the future of the Heavenly Dragon Academy. Beck said that if they didn't hire him, he would open the White Dragon Academy across the street from them and steal their students. The old man said that his scheming and self-confidence reminded him of his daughter. He had already given Sereno enough time. If he didn't show up on time, he would be disqualified. Muyang asked if he could be moved to the back of the line. The old man said he was going to take a break. But suddenly the guy asked Aku, "Are they in trouble?" The old man said that candidate Beck Surin hadn't come yet. The boy said that it was strange, there was no reason for him to be afraid or anxious before the lecture, or even before the fight. But if that's the case, then something's up and they can move Beck Surin's turn and make him last. The old man said that if they did that, it wouldn't be fair. The guy said of course, only if the real last candidate gives his permission. But suddenly the guy in line said he was willing to compromise. The guy apologized for deciding without consulting them. Namgoon said then he's leaving, because he's been waiting for this opportunity, he hopes Surin will come in time. Ak realized that Namgoon had planned everything. The last candidate always gets the most. The old man was angry and said that if the bastard didn't show up on time, he would kill him and bury him himself. Fatty was at the exam and said that he learned this at Chujak Academy. The teachers thought he was very good. The teacher said he's his cousin's son, so let them hold back on the compliments because they embarrass him. Namgoon said it's true, he has the right character for a mentor. The teacher said that he is a good person when he doesn't drink, but when he does, he is a trouble for everyone. Namgoon asked why he won't stop drinking. Teacher said he survived the Jeonju Mountain Massacre. Don't let the teachers worry about that, we should focus on the results. Ak came to the exam and said he's from the Sandon clan. He's going to demonstrate his mastery of the spear. Ak demonstrated his spear skills. When the teacher saw this, he said that it was quite expected from the son of a noble family. But suddenly, the teachers said that Beck Surin was the next to be summoned. Namgun couldn't get it out of his head that Surin dared to provoke him. The last lecture will be on the basic external martial arts. The lecture will begin immediately, and all students must take their seats. Have candidate Baek Surin ascend to the platform. But suddenly a couple people sat down. People started asking why they sat down. They're not the kind of people who need a lecture on the basics. The teacher called the guy out, but said he didn't show up after all. But suddenly the teacher said that something was flying in the sky. People thought it was a cannonball and approaching directly into the academy. It was our Surin. The old man called him a pagan, and where was he that he came just now for the exam? Surin apologized for being late. The teacher started laughing and said that he had never had so much fun since he became the head of the academy. He asked him if Surin would start right away. Surin said that, as is the norm in lessons on the external arts, we should focus on practical skills first. Since this is his first lesson, to cheer them up, he's offering a reward. From now on, anyone who can get him to leave the circle by physical force alone will receive 100 yang. Surin said that he too will only use external arts. If they force him to use chi, he will lose. They have 30 minutes, so they better hurry up. But suddenly Kong attacked him and said that the 100 yang would be his. But Surin managed to grab his arm and knock him to the ground. Surin said he knew Kong would be the first. It's good that he can easily understand his movements. Surin said that there's not much time left, let people come. All the guys tried to move him from the circle, but nobody succeeded. Surin said he was bored. Doesn't anyone else want to challenge him? But finally, the second student came out and attacked and said, don't underestimate the Pyang family. But Surin was able to repel his attack and said his moves were too obvious. And gave him a kick in the ass. The third student came out and told her mentor to look at her too. She asked Surin to give her a strand of his hair. Surin thought that this was some kind of exquisite psychological ploy. One could immediately see the Sichuan Tang family. Surin waited for the attack as he was suddenly attacked by a guy. But Surin dodged it and said that it was not a bad surprise attack, but it was too obvious. Surin said that they all have a temper. But if they want to win, wouldn't it be more logical to attack together? Kong said he can't fight him alone. Peck said he has to grow up first. Surin said that they won't like what he's about to say, but there's no way they can beat him now. This is a training method he invented and practiced many times in the Blood Demon sect. They really think they can beat me one-on-one. Let's try another option, Surin said. From now on he won't use his left hand. If it's still too difficult for him, then he'll stop using his left leg. The guys said they can do whatever they want, but they have to push Surin out of the circle and put him on his ass. Surin knew that in order for them to have a chance to win, they would have to attack from all sides at once. They would have to work hard and work together. But Surin scattered all of them to different sides and they did not work out. The guys began to fight, because no one does anything. But suddenly a guy stood up and said that he had been silent, but now he couldn't. He asked, "What kind of lesson is this?" Surin asked him who he was, but from the look on his face, Surin could see that he was the mentor of the Heavenly Dragon Academy. The guy said that with such a skinny physique, there could be external martial arts. He was the Heavenly Dragon Academy's external martial arts instructor, and his name was Yang Yirik. The teacher asked Yang whether it was necessary to have a body type like his in order to practice the external arts. The external arts aren't just about building muscle. He thinks candidate Baek has excelled in them. Doesn't Yang think so? Yang said that Surin is better than the average warrior. He told Namgun's mentor, he'll just sit there and let him say something. If it's not stopped, he might lose his mentor position. What will they do then? Namgun said not to exchange yourself with things that are above you. Though he probably wants to announce it to everyone, considering how he's been yelling. Let him deal with such petty things himself. Ian thought, what should he do? If someone like him becomes an external arts mentor, he might lose his place. Yang told Seo Cheon to use internal arts. Let him use chi to attack, he will take responsibility. Yang blackmailed him and said that if he disobeyed, he would tell Elder May that he had gone to a brothel. Cheon was angry because Yang had gone there with him. But he decided not to take any chances and obeyed his mentor. Surin noticed that this sick idiot was using chi to attack. Surin also drew his sword and stopped his attack and aura with only one sword. Yang told the head mentor that Surin had just used Qi, even though he should only teach physical martial arts. He should be disqualified. The head mentor said Surin has no use for anything. He doesn't have a drop of Qi. This skill is called unity with the sword. The head mentor asked Namgun what he thought about it. Namgun said he totally agreed with him. Namgun said that it was an incredible mastery of the external arts. Surin said that candidate Beck had finished his lecture. Myung told Surin that they were worried until he came. Where was he? The guy asked. Surin said he didn't want to talk about it. He was just helping an acquaintance, and then it started. They have no idea how much energy he had to spend on the way back. Myung said that he was glad Surin was back safe and sound, but just a little more, and AK said that he tried to ask Elder May to give Surin more time, and he almost killed him. Surin said it's his treat tonight, they can drink as much as they want. Myung said he knew he should have said it earlier. Myung asked him if he remembered that tomorrow is a one-on-one battle. Surin said sure, it would be good to pair up with Gongsu or whatever his name is. Ak asked, so Surin thinks he can beat him? Surin said he can't lose with external arts. Surin said it's just a training session, what's there to worry about? Ak said sure, we just have to win. But suddenly old man May came and said that Surin was a lousy drinker, just like his father. Surin asked his grandfather why he had come. The old man asked him if he was hurt. That provocation from their side was unnecessary, it was hard on him. Surin said he was fine. The old man gave him a pill and told him to take it. Surin saw that the pill smelled nice. It was clear from its appearance that it was rare, but why? The old man left saying that his mother was in poor health and that he didn't look healthy. Surin said he was healthy. The head of the academy also came and told the guy that he didn't know Surin was his grandson. He said he didn't mean to overhear, he just missed his chance to come at the right time. Many years ago, he killed many martial artists. Since then, his aura has completely changed. The chapter knows it's sudden, but Surin has time to talk. The head said that he doesn't know about tea yet, even at his advanced age. He asked Surin, who taught him martial arts. Surin said that he was taught by his father. In the past, he was a bully at the Heavenly Dragon Academy. The head asked him why he wasn't in Kanho. Surin said that when he was young he was in poor health, but now he thinks that there is no point in fighting others. And he likes to train others. The head said that means, to summarize, he doesn't want to get involved in the complicated affairs of Kanho, he doesn't want to get his hands dirty, and he doesn't want to die. The chapter said that Surin looks like a man who is afraid to spill blood. More like someone who has spilled so much blood that he's tired of it. The head said he has no more questions. Does Surin have something to say to him? The head asked. Surin told the head to let him fight Namgungsu tomorrow. The head said it's impossible. Namgungsu's mentor is a public figure and a pillar of the academy. Many wish to fight him, but they can't afford it for everyone who asks, said head. Surin said that he's preparing to replace the best mentor. The head said that means he's decided that he can defeat Namgun-su. Surin asked the head, does he think it's impossible? The head said it's too early for the guy, so he can't allow it. Surin said the head thinks he'll lose. The head said it would be fun. Surin saw that the head didn't answer anything, just said a few words and closed his eyes. Surin asked him, who would win in a battle between him and Namgun-su? The head, if he said, it just wouldn't be as fun. In fact, he has already decided who his opponent will be. He can't change that decision. Surin said if that's the case, there's nothing to be done. The head asked the guy, does he want to become the best mentor? Surin said of course, that's why he came to Heavenly Dragon Academy. The head asked, what does Surin think it means to be the best mentor? Surin said it's the ability to teach martial arts. The best mentor is the one who is trusted by the students and everyone else in the organization, as well as the one who is rich in skills. The head said it's actually different. His grandfather is a very capable man, and the assistant head was able to conquer all of Murim with his swordsmanship. But that wasn't enough. Why does Surin think that Mentor Namgun is the best mentor at the Heavenly Dragon Academy? Surin said because he's young and handsome. He's sure he has plenty of that too. The head said he didn't mean it. Surin asked, then how do you become a better mentor? The head said if he knew, he'd be a better mentor himself by now. In any case, Surin shouldn't be in a hurry. Looking at him, he remembers his first meeting with mentor Namgoon. They are alike. However, the head said that he doesn't like Namgoon too much right now. Of course, he's doing his best for the academy. The chapter thinks Surin will find a different path from the one Namgoon is on. Surin asked him why he was telling him this. The head told him to think of it as a good-natured grunt, telling him to first become a good mentor before he became a better mentor. Surin pondered on the words of the chapter and in the past when he was in the Blood Demon sect. He was one of the best martial arts instructors. But instead of calling him mentor, they called him instructor and the devil himself. Those assholes never called him a master. He used to say in training whoever wants to rest, they have a chance to rest forever if they get a good beating. Children raised by the cult as secret weapons. Who will conquer the Jurim? He trained these four in martial arts. They had no personality, they were raised to obey orders. He was never nice to them, instead he was tougher than all the other instructors. M was in pain but that means it's okay. His disciples asked him if they could not just give up, and he said, if they do not do good, they will be expelled. There are plenty of people who can replace them. The guys asked him if he wanted this to happen. He said no, because it would tarnish his reputation. The teachers said that the battle of AK's candidates will be stopped. AK said that he will leave everything to Surin. Surin said that he is a martial artist at the peak of his powers, but only drinks a little, and that's it. Although from the looks of it, he's only attracted more attention. Ak said if he messes up now, his family's reputation will be ruined. But at least he did it. How long will these two keep doing it? Surin was getting angry. Fatty called his opponent uncle and asked him to be nicer to him, which made him more angry and less intuitive. The rival said that for a fatty, he's the assistant head of the academy. Does he think being a mentor is that easy? If he's not ready, he should leave now. The head realized that his assistant had overdone it. The fat man said he wanted to be a mentor. Would he stop drinking? Asked the assistant head. The fat man scratched the back of his head and said he would try. The head stopped them and said that this was enough to evaluate his skills. The aide said that this bastard would only bring shame to the Heavenly Dragon Academy. The head said that it's not up to him. He's only relying on his feelings right now. The aide apologized immediately. The head said that the stage will be cleaned up now and they will continue. Candidate Muyang, please start preparing. Surin wished him good luck and let him not worry, just let him show what he can do. And his opponent will be Namgoon Su. Surin didn't understand what was going on, because the head told him he couldn't do anything. The girl asked him if he was talking about the head of the academy. Surin said of course. When Surin looked at her, he was surprised and said that she looked very young, but she must be in her 20s. She looked weak, but she was walking and breathing properly. Surin apologized and said he thought it was his friend. What's her business? He doesn't think she came because of his job. The girl said she knows it's too direct, but she's interested in something. The technique Surin used yesterday to stop the sword. Isn't that the Mon family's technique? Surin thought, who is she? There's no way she could have recognized the unsheathed sword. Surin told her no, he had never been in the Mon family. The girl said maybe it's a Kunlun sect technique. Surin was speechless, she was absolutely right. The creator of the technique was from the Mon family, but had more influence in the Kunlun sect as an elder, where he created the unsheathed sword. Surin told her no, his father taught him this technique, he created it. The girl asked if he had thought of it himself. Is his father a genius among swordsmen? Surin said he was just a mentor in a small village. The girl said if Surin didn't want to answer, he should have said so. Surin said that's not the point, aren't they different kinds of art? The girl asked, how are they different? Surin said that Mon's sword technique is soft and slow. Gentleness defeats strength, it's the only way to prove your superiority. This is what the Mon clan strives for. On the other hand, Kunlun techniques are rough and fierce. This is their way of the sword. Mon and Kunlun are incompatible. He thinks they can't be united. Doesn't she agree? Surin asked. The girl said she'll write it all down. Surin said that the lecture on swords was over. If she wanted to know more, she could meet him in the lecture hall. The girl said that she was also a candidate for mentor. It may have been a while ago, but she had graduated from the academy. Surin asked her, is she a graduate of the Heavenly Dragon Academy? The girl said no, she's from the Holy War Academy. She said her name is Chegal Seol. She wants to become a mentor in organizational strategy and martial arts history. The guy said he's Baek Surin. The girl said she knows he's the most famous of the mentor candidates. Suddenly, the battle between Myung and Namgoon started. The girl asked the guy how he thought it would go. Surin said, isn't it obvious that Namgoon Soo will win? Chegal said she wasn't talking about that, she asked how long he thought Myung would last. Surin said he didn't know, it depends on whether Namgoon decided to take pity on him. Namgoon told Myung that he's open, let him pay attention to his feet. And he's holding his weapon tightly. Surin said that this candidate's skills are too weak. As expected from Namgoon's mentor, Surin said to be honest, he doesn't even take his opponent seriously. Chegal said it's impossible to disagree. He was so kind and friendly when he was younger. Surin said that Namgoon Soo is kind and friendly. It's really hard to believe, if you say it, you'll be laughed at. Myung realized that he had no time, he must draw attention to himself. But suddenly he used his extraordinary attack, but Namgoon just set his sword up. Surin saw that Namgoon had parried. If he had taken a step back, he could have avoided the blow altogether. Myung told him that this was just the beginning of his attacks. But Namgoon just stood still and watched, saying that he was too slow. Myung noticed that Namgoon was open and decided to use that moment, telling him to be a little more careful. Namgoon was surprised and said it was incredible and amazing, but why is Myung copying him, he wondered. Chegal said that Namgoon's mentor had always been a very proud man. If he saw a spectacular technique, he would always try to replicate it. Surin said he's weird but he thinks that's one of the reasons he's become a better mentor. Namgoon asked the guy, does he want to continue? Namgoon said he knows. Myung is disappointed, but he doesn't think there's any point in continuing. Surin saw Namgoon's face and was surprised because he was smirking. Surin told the girl that she asked how long he thought Myung would last. Chegal said yes. But they're almost done. Surin said no, he'll last another 50 rounds. And in that time he'll take Namgoon down. Cheol said it's impossible. The guy told her if she doesn't believe her, let's make a bet, a wish. Surin shouted to Ilho, doesn't he want to win? Myung asked him what he meant. Surin asked if he wanted to beat that bastard with one punch. Myung looked at him and said he did. Surin told him not to ask questions and just do as he told him. Namgoon said he already thought Myung would give up. Mun struck hard and it was felt by Namgoon, who managed to deflect it. But from now on, no more indulgences. Surin said that Namgoon's next blow is a horizontal chopping blow, retreat Myung. Let him try to always hit the torso, let him hit as hard as he can. Namgoon defended himself and didn't realize what was happening. Myung had completely changed at the end of the fight. But he can't back down. Surin said that there will be a strong attack from the left. Let Myung retreat and dodge the blow. Myung said as expected from Namgoon's mentor, the mentor realized that the guy had anticipated his attack and dodged. He can't let it end like this. Kogal asked the guy what he was doing there. Surin was surprised and asked her what she was talking about. Chehal said that there's no way that a man who was just losing suddenly started to fight. Surin said that means he was hiding his skills. Surin praised Myung, because he was gradually beginning to feel the imaginary circle. He was able to fight in the circle with the disciples because he only used external martial arts. But Myung can use the inside. Namgoon Soo just dug his own grave. Surin told the guy to finish it off with the next blow. Myung attacked with all his strength and wanted to punish this guy. But Namgoon felt very good and was calm and said that Myung was very noisy. Namgoon dodged the attack and locked gazes with Surin. Myung asked him where he was looking during the fight. Myung attacked and said that this is his last fight and he's finished. Namgoon said that the guy thought it was so easy. Surin saw what Namgoon wanted to do and told him to dodge. Namgun didn't feel sorry for him and said that he would decide when the fight was over. Surin saw that Myung was falling and managed to grab him and put him on the ground and told him not to move. Surin asked Namgun if he tried to kill him. The guy apologized and said that the atmosphere was heated and he had accidentally used the sword aura. Surin said it's okay just because he apologized. It's easy for him, isn't it? But then the head intervened and told them to stop, because he will no longer tolerate unnecessary interference. Surin wanted to say something, but the head got angry and asked him if he had heard what he was told to do. Ak asked Surin what happened here while he was away. Surin said he would tell you later, so he should take Myung to the infirmary. The head told Surin to get up on the platform. It was his turn to participate in the exhibition fight. Surin told Aku that he would finish quickly and come to them. Ian heard his words and said he didn't know what he was talking about. The head said he could see that they were both ready, so they could start. Surin said that Yang wouldn't make an impression even if he won, so he was thinking of not trying. But now he's in a really bad mood, so he'll only hit once. Yang saw him and said it's just a way to blow off steam. Sooner threw a punch and Jan flew forward like a cork and fell in front of the teachers. Namgun said Surin threw him here on purpose. Surin told everyone to listen to him that he had learned about the Heavenly Dragon Academy along the way. It's not what it used to be, all the glory is in the past. There was even talk that it was time for it to be expelled from the 5 great Murim academies. Namgun got angry and told him to come down. Surin asked why. What did he say? Namgun said that someone like him doesn't dare to judge the Heavenly Dragon Academy. The head intervened and said let candidate Beck continue. But if he plans to cheat the academy and him, he'll pay for it. Surin bowed and apologized if his words offended. But let them listen to him carefully. Surin said that he is an expert in observing people's behavior, a habit of his youth. Thanks to this, when he meets new people, he can easily understand their level of martial arts skills, their personality, and what kind of life they have lived. And he noticed people who think the Heavenly Dragon Academy is unworthy and praise other academies. He also noticed a student from a wealthy family who tried to bribe him with alcohol. And a student with a disgusting mastery of techniques, who is known in the academy as a bully. But it's not just them. Heavenly Dragon Academy is also full of young, talented students who have a great future ahead of them. But no one here is doing anything because Heavenly Dragon Academy is the worst among the 5 great academies, so everyone here has an inferiority complex and fear of losing. Blondie said that's not true. In their class, Surin asked him what the student council's goal is this year. Blondie said to get a better place than last year in the cloud competition. How much better, tell me exactly, Surin said. The girls said that their goal is to win the White Tiger Academy, which ranked 4th last year. Surin said, only 4th, how much worse are their skills that they are so afraid? Surin said he came here to become a better mentor. But someone asked him to become a better teacher first. He thought about it a lot. He thought that to become a better mentor, he would have to train a master, but that wouldn't make him a good teacher. So he changed his plan. This year, in the heavenly competition, he would do everything he could to make the Heavenly Dragon Academy win. The girl said Surin is so cool. And he's great at martial arts. He knows a lot about martial arts. The girl told her people to make a list of all the students who would give low grades to candidate Beck, in case they were spies from another academy. The blonde guy told her to stop, it's not about popularity. The girl said he was right, but she meant it. Didn't he see his lecture and the fight? With those skills, he'd be welcome at any of the 5 academies. If he decides to leave, they can't stop him. Does Blondie realize how much damage that would do to them? The blonde realized that the Heavenly Dragon Academy had lost all of its glory. It used to be a serious opponent in the heavenly competition. But the students and mentors were no longer the same. His whole family graduated from the Heavenly Dragon Academy. He was always proud of it. But one day that pride turned into shame. Capable Murim youths no longer come to study at the Heavenly Dragon Academy, and the best mentors don't want to work here. And all because in the overseas competition, the most important events for the 5 great academies, their academy has been ranked last for the last 10 years. Surin burst into the room where his friends were waiting for him. Ak told him, is he crazy? Quiet, or you'll wake up Ilho. Ak said to win in an exorbitant competition, how can you promise something you can't do? Surin asked why he can't, he told the truth. Ak said he was out of his mind. But suddenly a girl knocked on the door and apologized for disturbing them. The girl asked how the patient was. Surin said he was fine, but how was her fight? AK was surprised and didn't understand who she was. The girl said that she had just finished and came here right away. Surin was surprised because she was breathing normally, her clothes were clean, and she couldn't even tell that she had fought someone. He saw that her weapon was Penguanbi and it was attached to the side. She couldn't fight with a book. He wanted to see her fight. The girl asked him what he was staring at. Surin said nothing, and asked her why she had come to the infirmary. The girl said that she wanted to know if he was really serious about helping the Heavenly Dragon Academy win the overwhelming competition. She felt that he might regret it. Surin asked her why she thought that. The girl said because it's impossible. AK heard a sound from the street and asked what it was. The girl said it's the closing ceremony, it must have started. Surin told her they'll discuss it later. Surin didn't understand why everyone said it was impossible without even trying. People started insulting him and saying he was crazy. He's heard enough of that in the blood demon cult. But he said he wants to be a better mentor and a better teacher in this life. But he has to change. The head told Surin that he must know that their academy has been ranked last in the competition for 10 years. Does he really intend to do what he said? Surin confidently said yes. The head told him, even if he is serious, he doesn't know what the students will decide, they are not even comfortable with this phrase. Let him not let their reactions offend him. Surin smiled and said that he guessed it would be like this. The head asked, but what if he failed? Surin said that he would simply move to the other side of the street and build his own White Dragon Academy. In less than 10 years, his students would already be beating up the students of the Heavenly Dragon Academy. The head understood him and said he was vouching for him. Surin said he would be very grateful for such a gesture. The aide told the head that it was his time for his speech. The head said he had to go and they would see each other soon. Ak told Surin that he thought his face would fall off at the sight of the students. The girl told him to get used to it, it will be worse in the future. Surin said it is what it is. If he fails, will he still be a mentor here? Ak said, what's he got to do with it? Surin can fail, and he'll take care of himself. Surin said it can't happen, but they need to go for a drink. Surin told the girl, if it's not too much trouble, she can join them too. The girl agreed, but said she's not very good with booze. Ak said that's great, he knows all the best taverns in the area. What does she want to eat tonight? The girl said she doesn't care what she eats. Surin asked what's wrong with Myung. Ak said he had to rest, he was sick. Surin said he meant they should go to see him again. Ak said no, he'll understand, especially on a special day. They have to go before all the tables are taken. The next day all the guys came to see the enrollment list. They saw that they were all enrolled and passed the exam. AK asked what's wrong with Surin's face, is it because he's in last place? Surin said that he doesn't care what place he's in. They won't pay more to the one who's in first place anyway. It was written that Baek Surin is the new mentor, and that he will take the place of the instructor in the remedial development class. Surin asked, what is that? The student said the name of the class makes it clear that it's a class for those who need extra lessons. It's where all the losers go. All the students in this class are problematic. Surin realized that Namgung Su had done it, he thought that he had forgotten about everything, but he decided to humiliate him like that. The student said that for example students like Kana, Surin realized that he was not as he had assumed. A student said that students from the remedial class almost never come to class. She will file an official complaint through the student council. Surin said that it is not necessary to do that. He likes the sound of a remedial class teacher. The head said he also wanted to welcome all of their new mentors. Surin said it's all for the faction bastards. He has to throw around empty formalities because they like it that way. Myung said that you'd think Surin wasn't a faction. He said that he was born into the faction, it's in his blood. Even though he was part of the blood demon sect in the past. And now they choose senior instructors who will work together with the newcomers. Ak said that they say Surin will be chosen by a pair of senior instructors, based on his abilities and specialization. Namgun told Chaegao Son's teacher to come with him. Surin heard this and realized that Namgun would be her senior mentor. The girl has a difficult path ahead of her. Surin said he had a bad feeling. The head said that teacher Baek Surin would follow him. Surin regretted it and thought he was better off with Namgong-soo. The head said that this is the external martial arts training hall. The hall is specially built so that it can be used to recreate any situation for physical training. Rascals often hide here to sneak a smoke, so keep your eyes open. If he needs to meditate or just be alone, he can do it here. There are also students who smoke and drink alcohol. If he catches them, he can punish them by telling them to practice twice as much. And this is the student council building. You can't relax here just because it's the student council. Those bastards smuggled so much alcohol in here. The main building is the most important place. This is where forbidden encounters between opposite-sex students take place. If he catches someone in the act, let him make them suffer on the spot. The head said that about Surin's speech about the heavenly competition. It was reckless. The Heavenly Dragon Academy is not the same as it used to be. The Overwatch competition was created to forge friendships and close relationships between the students of the 5 great academies. However, after the destruction of the Blood Demon sect, the only thing on everyone's mind is the competition. The Dragon and Phoenix matches are especially fierce. It's because the top 8 students get the title of Dragon and Phoenix. But in the past 10 years, not a single Heavenly Dragon Academy disciple has received this title. Surin said he understood. 30 years ago, Surin's father had the best results in the history of the Heavenly Dragon Academy's participation in the Overworld competition. He was the best in the Dragon and Phoenix matches. Surin was surprised to hear this and asked the head what he was saying. The head said nothing. Let them not talk about this man anymore. Either way, he'll have to change the student's deep-seated fear of failure. How does he think he'll do it? Surin said yes, if he thought he couldn't handle it, he wouldn't say anything. The head said he had the same self-confidence as his parents. Like his father, Surin asked. The old man said no, like his daughter. Surin asked his grandfather what he knew about remedial developmental class. Grandpa said he's changing the subject, because he's in charge of the remedial class. Grandpa said that with Yi Min from sophomore year, Go Sangwon from 4th year and Hongwon Kong from 3rd year, it would be hard for him to be in the same class with those 3. Those rascals don't even listen to him sometimes. Surin said they're not easy kids, so. Grandpa said he thinks Namgung-soo put him in this class for nothing, but in his opinion, it's better to have a class full of skilled but naughty students than those who are unremarkable. He should probably start with someone he knows first, right? Surin asked his grandfather if he knew where Hongwon Kang's room was. At that time, Kong was practicing in his room. Kong fell to the floor and began to remember the battle with Surin and said that someday he would beat him in a fight. Kong tried to repeat Surin's techniques and said he couldn't do it like Surin. Surin told him to explain why he couldn't do it. Kong said that even if he explains, it doesn't mean that he is. When he saw Surin, he was surprised and said that he is the crazy one. Surin said that Kong was training himself, what a good student he was. Kong asked him why he was here, should he leave? Surin said why would he leave, Vern Ken. He's his mentor now, so he came to talk to him one-on-one. Kong said he's not interested. The guy said his name wasn't One Can, it was Can, just one character. Surin grabbed him by the shoulder and told him to sit down. Can was surprised at his strength. Surin asked him if he was repeating what he had just said, but Kong denied it and said he had not repeated it. Surin decided to help him and show him again, but he had to watch carefully. Surin said he'd show him some moves and let him watch how it's really done. Khan's first problem is he's not flexible enough. Khan said he trains it often. Surin said he doesn't train it often enough, but more often. Surin asked if he realized what the second problem was. Kong said he had his hands and feet in slightly different positions. Surin said right, he just repeated what Kong did. The guy said Surin saw him do it for a moment and he can do it again. Sure, Surin said so, and Kong can do it too. Well, it's true that first he will have to train the techniques of the 18 strikes of triumph of the rejected king of the green forest. Surin asked him if he wants to learn. He's probably shaking with anticipation, right? Kong said no, he's not interested in his stupid techniques. Surin asked him why, or is it because of the Habuk family? Kong stood up abruptly and said that Surin thought he couldn't kill the teacher. Surin asked him if he could kill him, and looking into each other's eyes he realized that Kong was a capable guy. Surin said that he knows that he has a problem with the Habuk family. They say that the Hongwon family are almost like disciples of the Habuk family because they helped them a lot. Is it Fek Sahek's fault that Ka's situation is like this? Kong thinks that power will help him become someone important in the family. He knows that's bullshit, right? Kana attacked and told him to shut up, as if he understood something. But Surin managed to dodge his attack. Surin said that Kong is a genius. Does he really want to be like that even though he got into the Heavenly Dragon Academy, even though he has a family with nothing but his name? If he continues to live like this, the Hongwon family will be tied to the Baek family like dogs. Kong got angry and told him to shut up. Kong asked him what he understood about it. Surin said he was just stating the obvious. But if he learned martial arts from him, everything would change. Kong attacked Surin, but he dodged it. Surin saw him move. In such a short time he had already learned what he showed him. Surin told him that he has a talent. Such a talent can surpass even a wild demon and kill it in one fell swoop. Surin said that Kong could make the Hongwon family unrivaled. But suddenly the sword fell from Kang's hands. Kong told him to stop talking nonsense about it. Surin smiled and thought that was enough to make him move. Myung asked AK how his first day went. AK said not to even ask, he has no idea how much he had to sweat on his first day. Myung said he has the same thing. It's not even that big of an age difference between them. Cheol said that Namgun's mentor is completely obsessed with work. He said that since it was her first day, she could leave early, but he only let her go now. Myung felt sorry for her and said that she had suffered a lot today. Ak asked Surin how his remedial class was going. Surin said he went to see Kansas. He thinks he started martial arts just to bother Pyong. He's boring the kid who's going to be the head of the Pyong family because he knows it's the only thing he can do. Cheol said that their family used to have a good relationship, but after a wild demon appeared in Hongwon's family, they broke off all relations. Surin said she's talking about the wild demon Hongwon Ku. He changed the techniques of the heaven-opening sword and the heaven-conquering sword. But during the white blade competition, trying to fully master his martial arts, he went crazy and killed many people. One of the victims was the young head of the family Habuk Pyong. After that, the Murim alliance tried to pursue him. But after that, the wild demon disappeared without a trace. Surin knew that he had actually been caught by a blood demon sect and imprisoned in a dungeon. Chegel said that it wasn't over. 20 years later there was a bloodbath. Surin asked her what kind of massacre. Does she mean that the wild demon caused a bloodbath? Chul said that the story was hidden, so she doesn't know everything. Anyway, 20 years after its disappearance, the wild demon secretly returned to the Hongwon family. At that time, the head of the family was his younger brother. At home, in honor of his return, they secretly held a feast. But at that feast, a wild demon killed all his relatives who came to congratulate him. Also, all the information about sword techniques and all the buildings were burned down. Myung said that he killed even those who didn't practice martial arts at all. Cheol said yes, according to the survivors' accounts, it was a massacre of the entire family. After that, the Baek family took the Hongwon family under their wing. Surin realized that this couldn't have happened. Because the wild demon had died with him. His father, mother, brothers and sisters, his whole family, for whom he shed blood. He could not repay them for all the benefits they gave him in this life. Surin said if he's destined to be reborn, he'll repay all the debts he couldn't repay in this life. The Matera told him not to start making dying wishes here. He hasn't beaten him yet. Surin realized that the wild demon couldn't be the cause of that bloodbath. Because he and Surin all died there. Someone used the name of the wild demon, the Hongwon family's name, to kill them. And it could only be someone from the blood demon sect. Kong went outside and kept hearing the voices of his parents and people judging him. He said it was all useless. He'd better go out and have a drink. Fek asked him where he was going at this hour, to drink again. Kong just walked through them and didn't say anything. Pek told him that when his master calls him, he must obey silently. Why doesn't he obey him? Kong was silent, but his patience ran out and he drew his sword, telling Fek that it had been a long time since they had fought. Pek told him he's crazy. Kong told him he's scared of losing and crying like when he was a kid. Fek also pulled out his sword and said it was time to start. But no one expected that Kong would lose. Fek asked him, did he think he could beat him like he did when he was a kid? While Kong was drinking, he was training hard. While he was dealing with his inferiority complex, he was putting in all kinds of effort. Kong said of course, Beck drank his expensive elixirs and tried to learn martial arts under good teachers. If he was still weaker than him after all this, wouldn't that mean he was really weak-minded? What's the connection between being born into a good family and Kong not training? Does he think that if he became stronger than him, he wanted to take revenge on the Hongwon family? Fek told him to listen carefully, that's the last piece of friendly advice he'd give him. Never get in his face again, or he'd squash him like the insect he is. Kong lay on the ground that night wondering what he could do to rise in the eyes of the people. And how bad he feels, no one knows. The next day, someone shouted to Kana. It was an old acquaintance of his. The guy said he hadn't seen him for a long time. He asked Kana if he went to school here. What's he been doing all these years? Seeing him, Kong wondered what this guy was doing here. Normally, the heirs of great clans would be studying at a bountiful military academy. The guy told him he wanted to go visit Kan, but his father Kan told him to leave because he's busy right now. The guy asked him, what's wrong with him? Did he have another fight? No, he's drunk. He smells like alcohol a meter away. Is he going to live his whole life like that? That pathetic bastard Pyong Sahek should have attended a grateful military academy. What is he doing here? Suddenly that evening Surin was walking home and met Khan and asked him why he was lying here. From the look of him, he'd been in another fight. Surin asked him what he was doing in this academy. He has such potential, Surin expected more from him. Khan told him to ignore him, let him go his own way. Surin asked him, so he gave up. Surin held out his hand and told him to grab on. This was his last chance to change his life once and for all. Kong said he couldn't do it. Surin asked him if he would do nothing and leave it like that. Surin told him to leave, he'd better make sure he gets expelled. Enjoy the last days of school. This umbrella is the last thing he'll get from him. Kong said that Surin's words are not funny at all. There's no point in accepting a helping hand from such a person. All he has is half the technique of a heaven-devouring sword. He doesn't even know a heaven-conquering sword. His body is in a terrible state, so dying like this would be the best. But suddenly someone said his name. It was Surin who said Kan was lucky they met again. Why is he lying there like a beggar? Kong asked Surin, is he crazy or what? Surin said his name is no longer there, he should call him teacher. When Kong came home, he said he was no genius. When he fought with Beck, he couldn't do anything. Surin said it's because he's the eldest son of the Peck family, he's always being told how gifted he is, idiot. Kong said he's leaving the Heavenly Dragon Academy, Namgung Su will kick him out anyway. If it's like this, he can just become a vagrant and gain life experience. And close his family's technique, the sword that opens the heavens. Surin punched him and told him he was a fool and what kind of tramp he wanted to be. Did he live any differently before that? Kong said that whatever he does, it doesn't work. Surin said so he decided to run away to a place where there are no Hongwon and Habuk families. Kong asked him if he had finished his speech. Surin said he was right. If so, go ahead and prove it. Surin is ready to teach him sword technique. It's the technique of a past generation master. Kong said, how would Surin know that? Surin said, what if it's the same technique as the one he used in the test? Surin said he changed his mind. It's a good technique, but it would be hard for a student in a remedial class to learn it. Kong asked why he couldn't. Surin asked, is he saying he can learn? Kong said yes. Does Surin think he can't? Surin asked him if he was sure. Even if it's very difficult. Kong said Surin himself said he was a genius. Surin said they'll start by fixing his tone, okay? Let him clean himself up, it'll be good for him. In the academy head's office, did the head of the academy say that Feek wanted to go to the Grace Academy? After he'd been at the academy for a long time? The kid said yes. Feck said he wants to compete with more skillful students under better conditions. Have the head write him a letter of recommendation. The head told him to write him a letter if he wanted to. But he's disappointed in Feek. There's a lot of interesting things going on at Heavenly Dragon Academy, if he knows. Peck said he might be, but he can't change anything alone. He turned around and said he was leaving. The head said that he understands and his letter will be ready by noon tomorrow. He hopes that Feck will have a good time at the Bountiful Academy. He has nothing to do with this place anymore. There are no techniques he wants to learn. He's already proven his authority, now it's become boring. Kong told Beck where he was, he'd been looking for him all day. Beck asked what's the matter. Didn't he warn him what would happen if he caught him? Kong asked him to fight again. Feek said he was watching, that Kong never understood anything, when he was done with him, he would wish for death. Kong told him that he meant not right now, later. Kong said that he will learn a new sword technique. He will quit drinking and smoking and train hard. When he's done, let them fight again. He'll win this time, said Kong. Peck said that Kong is not the kind of person who will accept defeat. Try your best, he'll be waiting for it. Surin asked Kong if these were all his things. But suddenly Kong saw a letter from Feck saying that he was going to the Graceful Military Academy. Kong said he had all the important things with him. Surin told Kan to pass through and this is where they will live. And another student will train with him. Kan asked who he was. Surin said it's his secret weapon. He's training it so he can win at the ultimate competition. But suddenly that boy ran to Surin and called him brother. Surin told him that he asked him to call him teacher. Surin asked him if he was doing well. The boy said yes, teacher, it's been a long time since they last saw each other. Surin said he's been a bit busy lately, but now they'll see each other every day. From tomorrow he'll be working here. The boy asked who came with him. The boy said he was Hongwon Kong. Nice to meet you. The boy said he's VG Young. He's turning 15 this year. The master can make himself at home. Surin said that he will send the boy to the entrance exam this year, so he will soon become his junior. Chan said that he heard that the entrance exam of the Heavenly Dragon Academy is very difficult, so he is trying hard to prepare. Kong told Junior that not everyone can pass the exam. He'll have to try really hard. Surin said that now they would train together. Kong was surprised and asked the kid. Jong was happy and said that now he wouldn't be bored. Surin said they've met, why don't they warm up? Kong hopes Jong isn't too annoying and won't hit on him. Surin told them no use of chi. Chon was very happy and told the teacher well, and so their battle began. Kong was already on the ground. He was wiping the dust from his face. Jong asked him if he was okay. Kong said he had warmed up and now it was time to fight for real. Surin said that just as he thought, Jong is stronger now. But Kong is a different type of genius than VG Jong. He has better control over his body and can repeat a technique after seeing it once and he is incredibly tough. A destructive type of martial arts, the way of the sword Azura Wild Demon is perfect for him. On the other hand Jong looks like a noble swordsman. Most swordsmen see the sword only as a tool to help them develop their martial arts, or only as a killing tool. They use the sword, but they don't love it. Surin asks what the old man means by loving the sword. He's trying to say Surin should open his heart. The old man said, a sword is a sword. To understand it, he must look at it carefully every day. Although he received the wrong instruction, he was still able to learn the sword on his own. This means that he has an incredible understanding of the sword and the ability to focus. And most importantly, he loves the sword. He understands the unsheathed sword, so it's better for him to continue learning it. When he's completely gone from the chi distortion, he'll be able to progress even faster. Even the thought of those two beating everyone in a high-stakes contest makes him happy. Destroy them all. But to get it all, Surin forgot that he has to get stronger too. Although he's practicing 18 strokes of rejection every day, the thing is, in order to master a powerful technique, he has to prepare himself. Rather, he'll have to see Pak again and take the elixir from him. Surin asked Old Man V, is he doing well? V said he was going to get close to him and scare him, but he caught him. Surin asked how the work was going. V said he came to talk to him about it. He thinks the job will cost more than he thought. He's written down everything he needs, see Surin. Surin said it's very expensive stuff. He'll organize everything, just let V focus on the sword. Surin said if V needs anything else, let him talk, he's rich. Pak read the list and said they don't have any money. Surin asked how it came to be. Poke said there was money, but it was gone. Surin said he got so much property and Pak said it was gone. Surin asked him if he had pocketed some of his own money. Pak said he swore on his life that he hadn't touched anything. All the places Surin had invested in had closed down because of the owner's illegal activities, so their profits had decreased. Pak said that the Sleeping Dragon Tavern has been bought out and the blacksmith shop near the Heavenly Dragon Academy has closed. It's Elder Vi who buys very expensive materials. The money Surin invested has not been touched, but they have no profit. There is a lot of preparation for the traders and their guards. They will have to wait another year before they can take the money. Surin says he can't wait that long. Surin told him to keep looking after everything, he relies on him. Pak thanked him and said he wouldn't let him down. Surin said that about the merchants and their guards, let them give them a new name. Pak asked him if he had any idea. Surin said that if he had to start his own White Dragon Academy, he would give the name to the merchants. Surin decided to ask his friends if they had money. AK asked him if he wanted to borrow money from them. Surin said that he will pay them back next month from their salaries. The guys said they have no money. Seagull said she'll lend him the money. They had a bet, if it's not enough, let Surin tell him. Surin remembered their argument, but he's not going to spend it right away. He'll save it until the right time. Che-Gal told him to take it, he'll give it back when he's paid. But if he really needs the money, why doesn't he give individual lessons? Although it's hard to make time for that. Myung said that there's a way to earn money by teaching martial arts individually. Che-Gal said that the Heavenly Dragon Academy entrance exam is in a month. Now is the best time to take preparatory lessons. Surin said it's not bad, but why didn't they say so before? Che-Gal said they can't make much money while they're on trial. Take Namgun's mentor for example. Since he's the best in the academy, he can earn up to 300 pieces of silver a month. Surin said that he looks like he's a stranger to earthly things, but he's greedy for money. Surin asked if it's not too much for individual lessons. AK said that while they're on probation, they won't get much. Surin said he'll definitely make more money than Namgongsu. They'll have no choice but to pay him. The elder looked at the night view and said that the city is so quiet at dusk. The boy told him that it's getting colder already. The elder said that although he was still recovering, nothing would happen to him. He was happy to return to his hometown after so many years. The boy said he'll soon make a full recovery so he can come back for good. The elder said no, there's nothing to keep him here. He doesn't want to go back to a town with so many criminals. The elder saw people downstairs and told the guy it was noisy. How many weirdos there are in the world. The woman said it's the future best mentor, who is Baek Surin. The man said it's probably just another Murim badass. The elder said he hasn't been this interested in anything in a long time. Have the boy bring one of the announcements. The boy asked what was wrong. After reading the announcement, the elder laughed and said it sounded like fun. Surin said it was time for them to open. And the guys immediately started training from early morning. Sure, Khan said of course, he went up at dawn and put up 100 of them. Chan said he had hung all his own. Surin asked why no one was there. But suddenly someone shouted to them. It was the elder. He asked, is this the training ground, White Dragon? Surin said yes, welcome.